Divine and Mysterious Immortality. I start my cultivation by adding points as a butcher. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51, Heartbreaking Knife, Basic Hidden Weapon Skills. 3 days passed in a flash. On the afternoon of the 10th day of the first lunar month, Wei Hong got what he had been dreaming about. He spent several hundred taels on a custom-made knife and 100 black iron plum blossom needles. The knife was just as he described. The blade was 3 inches long, slender and well-proportioned, without a blood groove, and the whole body was covered with folded and forged patterns, which looked quite beautiful. The handle and scabbard were both made of spruce wood, painted with a layer of black paint, and engraved with many exquisite carvings, as if it were a beautiful work of art. There was a hole at the back of the handle, and a thin rope was already passed through it. Wei Hong could tie the thin rope to his hand and hide the knife in his sleeve to cover it up, so that no one could tell that he was carrying a weapon. But once he needed to kill someone, he could grab the knife in his hand with a flick of his hand, cut or even stab into the enemy's body. Puff! Wei Hong casually raised his hand and stabbed it down. The stone bench in the small yard was immediately stabbed through. The knife pierced into the hard stone bench easily, just like cutting tofu. Okay. Wei Hong couldn't let go of the knife. Finally, after thinking it over, he named it the Heartbroken Knife. This knife was made only to break people's hearts and lungs, which just proved the name of the knife. As for why Wei Hong didn't make other knives, but only made this knife that looked like a child's toy, he actually had his considerations. The skin membrane defense of the warriors in the skin refining realm is strong, and weapons that are not forged with black iron cannot break the defense. But the price of black iron is amazing. A normal sword weighs at least 10 to 20 pounds, not to mention other weapons. The materials used are absolutely amazing. Wei Hong is short of money and can't afford so much money. Moreover, although the capital of the gods does not prohibit the carrying of swords and weapons, it is still very troublesome to carry a big knife when walking around every day. People will be checked at any time, and it is easy to arouse others' vigilance before killing people. After thinking it over again and again, Wei Hong concluded that a small knife that is exquisite, easy to hide, and can cut iron like mud is the most suitable for him. As for the black iron plum blossom needle, it is also out of this consideration. Since he has made up his mind to dabble in hidden weapons, he naturally has to practice the most suitable one. There are thousands of hidden weapons in the world, such as locust stones, flying knives, boomerangs, etc. However, they are either inconvenient to carry or not concealed enough. Warriors have strong skin defense and quick reaction. Ordinary hidden weapons are difficult to break through defense and hit the enemy. Flying needles may seem ordinary, but they have the effects of strong concealment, low sound of breaking through the air, and outstanding armor-piercing ability. Once you practice to the point of hitting wherever you point, the enemy's eyes will be in danger when you raise your hand. And flying needles are easy to carry. No one can find them if you stick them on the inside of your clothes. So they have become the most suitable means of attack for Wei Hong now. You don't need to practice the broken heart knife, just play with it often to get familiar with the feel. My 5-beast fist has reached the perfect state. I can integrate the knife into the fist by treating it as an extension of my hand. The black iron plum blossom needle needs to be practiced more. Unfortunately, I can't find a decent secret book of hidden weapons. Wei Hong murmured and took out a secret book from his arms. This is the basic hidden weapon explanation that he bought in the Hutao Gang's transmission hall for 10 taels of silver, but he couldn't find a better hidden weapons secret book. Hidden weapons are not popular these days. After all, warriors are all thick-skinned and thick-fleshed. Playing with hidden weapons without good skills is just tickling others, and it is easy to disrupt one's own fighting rhythm, so hidden weapons are only considered side skills. However, this basic hidden weapon explanation is still a bit interesting. It records dozens of common graphics of hidden weapons, plus 18 hidden weapon activation techniques. Although it is rough, it also allows Wei Hong to have some understanding of hidden weapons. Link. Basic hidden weapon skill proficiency +1. Current proficiency is entry level 1/100. A message prompt flashed by. Wei Hong couldn't help but smile. As long as the proficiency is displayed, how far will it be from reaching the limit? But he didn't plan to work hard on his own. During this period of time, He had already figured out the magic of the golden finger. The system cannot directly increase the strength by adding points. Wei Hong can't spend too much vitality on refining his skin every day. Therefore, spending the extra vitality points on skills is the most cost-effective choice to improve combat effectiveness. Ling. Deduct 100 vitality points, and the proficiency of the skill basic hidden weapon will increase by 100. Congratulations on breaking through to the mastery level. Ling. Deduct 300 vitality points, and the proficiency of the skill basic hidden weapon will increase by 300. Congratulations on breaking through to the minor success level. After adding points twice in a row, something seemed to explode in Wei Hong's mind. The knowledge of hidden weapons that he had just memorized was understood and integrated at a terrifying speed. It seemed that his comprehension had increased thousands of times. In a glance, he was familiar with all kinds of hidden weapon techniques. In an instant, he seemed to have practiced hidden weapons for 3 to 5 years. With lightning speed, his left hand grabbed a black iron plum blossom needle, pinched and flicked his fingers and threw it out. The flying needle turned into a residual image and disappeared in the air. The next moment, the flying needle pierced deeply into the courtyard wall with a puff. The wall made of Kingang stone could not stop this sharp hidden weapon. Great! Wei Hong smiled with satisfaction and began to practice continuously. Now that he had taken the first step, the only thing left was his hard work. Puff, puff, puff. One after another, the black iron plum blossom needles were ejected by him. Wei Hong got used to the practice of this hidden weapon again and again. Seeing his proficiency increasing, he became more satisfied and relieved. If he fought Mankation again at this time, it would definitely not be as difficult as before. While using the broken heart knife to break through the defense and sneak attack, he used the plum blossom needle to threaten the opponent's eyes. Relying on his agility, it would only take a little more time to kill him. It's a pity that I can't buy good poison, otherwise, applying it on the blade and flying needles will definitely make the enemy die faster. Wei Hong shook his head regretfully. Poison is not difficult to buy. Arsenic and the like are sold in pharmacies. Although the government has very strict control over this, it can still be bought if you are willing to spend money. However, these poisons are not good enough for warriors with strong blood and ki. As long as they are not taken orally in large quantities, they will not kill people immediately. It is even more unrealistic to want to kill people with just a little bit of flying needles. Unless you can buy the legendary poison that kills people immediately, it is just a waste. This kind of valuable thing is not something Wei Hong can dream of now. Brother Wei. Qiuju, who was embroidering under the eaves, couldn't help but envy and said, "Can I learn this flying needle?" "Yes," Wei Hong replied casually, "but you should lay a good foundation first. Come to the practice room as usual in the evening, and I will start to teach you the standing exercise." "Okay." Qiuju smiled excitedly. Chunlin curled her lips in disdain. "Why should girls learn martial arts? It is right to find a good family to marry. I heard that women who learn martial arts will be big and strong. Be careful that no one will want you in the future." "I'm not afraid." Qiuju snorted coldly. "Even if no one wants me for the rest of my life, I still want to learn." Haha. Wei Hong shook his head and laughed and didn't care. The two sisters have very different personalities, and it is unknown what kind of life they will have in the future. The editor said that the data is a bit poor recently. Please vote and read it. Thank you. Chapter 52, Refining Leather with Copper Water, the same effect. On the 15th day of the first lunar month, the Lantern Festival, the atmosphere in Wei's house in Xianbao Lane was lively and noisy. Grandpa Wei Hong and his grandson, as well as Grandma Wang's family of 3, sat together. There was a copper pot on the table, and the soup was boiling under the burning charcoal, which was quite like the atmosphere of eating hot pot around the stove. "We didn't eat well on New Year's Eve, so we'll make up for it today. Now I'm no longer afraid of Zhang Fushan, so you can eat and drink with confidence. Grandma Wang, try this. Mutton is a good thing for warming up. Drinking some rice wine with shabu-shabu mutton on a snowy day is really something that even gods wouldn't change. Grandpa, try it too." Wei Hong greeted enthusiastically. Old Wei was happy, enjoying his grandson's filial piety with peace of mind. A mouthful of rice wine and a mouthful of mutton, he ate with a full heart. Grandma Wang and her grandchildren were still a little restrained. They didn't dare to eat too much meat, and most of the time they only picked up vegetables to go with their rice. Although Chunlin and Qiuju were drooling with envy, They always kept Grandma Wang's teachings in mind and dared to eat their rice silently. "You've lived here for so long, why are you still so formal?" Wei Hong said dissatisfiedly. "Grandma Wang, you look pale and thin, you will collapse if you don't eat more. Xiaolin and Xiaoju are like bean sprouts, they also need to eat more meat." "No, no." Qiuju shook her head desperately. "Brother Wei, you guys eat, we don't like meat." "Brother Hong, you don't have to greet me, just eat." Grandma Wang also smiled and refused. Old Wei sighed and put down his chopsticks and said, "Sisters of the Wang family, you are too polite. Eating a few pieces of meat won't make us broke. It's just more chopsticks for more people. It's not good at all." Grandma Wang murmured embarrassedly. "Brother Hong sheltered us and exempted us from the rent. Now even the meals." "You can't say that." Wei Hong said seriously. "Since moving in, the three of you have taken care of all the work inside and outside the house. You clean, wash clothes, cook, and take good care of my grandfather every day. Even the servants are not as dedicated as you, right? And I just provide a place to live. You girls have a small appetite. The total of 3 meals a day is not as much as I eat in one meal. How can you care too much? Look at Xiaolin and Xiaoju. If they don't eat more, they may not grow tall when they reach the age of 15. Aren't you delaying them?" Grandma Wang was embarrassed and ashamed when she heard this. She wanted to say something but stopped, but Wei Hong didn't give her the chance to speak again. He directly cooked a large dish of mutton and placed it in front of them, saying, "Eat it, if it's not enough, there's more. You deserve to take care of us, Grandpa and grandson. I'd be ashamed if I didn't pay you." "Thank you, Brother Wei." Chunlin and Qiuju thanked him happily. Grandma Wang wiped her tears gratefully and said nothing more. After dinner, Wei Hong continued to practice. The difference was that Qiuju also came to the practice room and began to practice the 13 tiger movements in a serious manner. Wei Hong had already started teaching her to practice a few days ago. Although her movements were stiff and her talent was not very good, the little girl was willing to learn. No one dared to speculate what she would achieve in the future. Wei Hong began to refine his skin with iron sand as usual. Now his skin membrane has become stronger and stronger. Iron sand at ordinary temperature is no longer enough. After a lot of grinding, there is not much growth. Even when he applied green vitriol oil on his body, he didn't feel much pain. His skin was strengthened over and over again, and his strength was no longer what it used to be. At the beginning, I used green vitriol oil to refine the skin, and each time I could increase the progress of skin refining by 5 points. After the strength breakthrough, it dropped to 2 points, and now it is almost ineffective. It seems that I have to change the method of skin refining. Wei Hong frowned and looked at his attribute board. The skin refining progress shown on it is now 27 out of 100. It has been 15 days since New Year's Eve, and it has barely reached less than 1/3 of the progress. Now the progress is getting slower and slower. If I don't change the skin refining method, I'm afraid I won't be able to break through to the late stage in a year or two. The road of martial arts becomes more and more difficult as you go further, and the ancients are not deceiving me. Wei Hong's understanding of this is even deeper. If he compares himself to a piece of pig iron, it is the easiest to temper it at the beginning. But if you want to make a piece of pig iron into 10,000 forged steel, it will become more and more difficult as time goes by. This principle is similar to martial arts. Fortunately, there are many skin refining methods recorded in 100 forging golden body skills, and Wei Hong now has more options. Method 1. Take a bellows and add fire to help combustion, put some copper blocks in the pot and burn them into copper water, then apply the boiling copper water to the whole body. Method 2. Take an iron ball and hang it, let it swing left and right and hit itself. Method 3. Find a steep slope of gravel to roll down. Method 4. Find 3 strong men to whip the whole body with maces. The methods recorded in the secret book are more fierce than each other. The slightest carelessness may cause disability, and even Wei Hong was frightened. However, his strength is no longer what it used to be. If he wants to become stronger quickly, he must take some risks. Otherwise, he will not be able to break through to the late stage of skin refining, even if he delays for a year or two. After thinking about it, Wei Hong finally decided to use the method of applying copper water to the whole body to refine the skin. It happened that he had made preparations recently, and the wooden bellows were already ready. Put a lot of stone coal and charcoal in the stove in the training room and ignite it. Wei Hong began to pull the bellows hard, directly letting the flames on the stove rise. Then, he put copper blocks in the big iron pot. Because copper has a lower boiling point than iron, the copper blocks in the iron pot were gradually burned into copper water under the fierce fire. They floated and rolled in the pot like dark golden soup, and every drop was piercingly hot. Generally, warriors in the middle stage of the skin refining realm mostly start to refine their skin with boiling oil. Only those who reach the late stage of the skin refining realm dare to try to practice with copper water. And before refining the skin, you have to apply a special secret medicine on your body to reduce the corrosion of the copper water to the skin, otherwise it is easy to cause indelible injuries. But Wei Hong didn't care. He didn't care about secret medicine. He stuffed a towel into his mouth and bit it tightly, and then put his left hand into the copper water regardless of anything. Hum. Hum. A burning pain came. Wei Hong's eyes widened in pain, clenched his teeth, and trembled all over. He felt as if his skin and flesh had been instantly scalded, and the hissing white smoke rose up, accompanied by the amazing aroma of barbecue, which shocked Chuju, who was practicing martial arts, dumbfounded. "Brother Wei, are you crazy?" Chuju exclaimed. It's okay. Wei Hong trembled and retracted his hand. He knelt on the ground, gasping for breath. Cold sweat had already wet his back quietly at this moment. Looking at his left hand, the skin was already torn. One hand was wrinkled like a fried chicken claw, and the meat inside was probably 80% cooked. It's a bit arrogant. Wei Hong smiled bitterly and murmured. Please vote and read more. Chapter 53, One arrow pierces the clouds, and thousands of troops come to meet. Brother Wei, what kind of training method is this? Isn't it too dangerous? This copper water looks very hot. Do you want to apply some medicine? Kyuju was chattering in shock. Wei Hong wiped the cold sweat without saying a word, and had already silently tried some. A warm vitality appeared out of thin air and rushed to his palm. After a while, his palm felt numb, and the severe pain was immediately relieved by 80%. Then the flesh and blood began to repair. The surging blood rushed in, and the half-cooked flesh began to rejuvenate. On the surface, the palm seemed to be torn and wrinkled, but Wei Hong knew that the function of the palm had been restored by 80% or 90%. It would be restored to its original state in less than a cup of tea, and it would become even stronger. I'm fine, you continue to practice. Wei Hong raised his eyes and comforted Kyuju, and then stuffed the towel into his mouth without hesitation, and then stuffed his right hand into the big iron pot. Wei Hong groaned in pain. Veins popped out on his forehead, blood vessels bulged, and his eyes were full of ferocity, like an evil ghost crawling out of hell. Kyuju was so frightened that she had no mood to continue practicing. She wanted to persuade him several times, but she couldn't say it in the end. She could only watch Wei Hong commit suicide again and again. He boiled his left hand and then his right hand. After boiling his right hand, he boiled his left hand again. People who didn't know would think he was frying chicken legs. The temperature of the copper water is too high. It is not suitable for refining the whole body immediately. Let's start with the hands first. It takes less vitality to repair the hands. Wait until the palms adapt to this temperature, and then slowly advance to other places. Wei Hong made a plan in his heart. Soon he found that his idea was right. Although he only refined his hands, his skin refining progress actually increased by 2 points, which shows that the copper water skin refining method is indeed effective. After boiling dozens of times in a row, Wei Hong's hands grew at a terrifying speed. In the end, he could sink his hands into the copper water without feeling much pain. The skin and flesh of his palms seemed to have adapted to this temperature and became as strong as diamond. Bang, bang, bang. Wei Hong collided his hands, and a sound of metal collision was heard for no reason. The skin on his palms was not sure if it was stained with too much copper water. It was faintly copper-colored, and the flesh was much tighter and stronger than before. Won't I turn myself into a bronze man if I keep practicing like this? Wei Hong teased with a bit of laughter. Seeing that it was getting late, he thought about it and finally decided to stop and rest. Xianju, go to bed first, don't practice for too long. Wei Hong casually reminded, you are thin and weak, so just practice the first move of Tiger Walk 13 styles repeatedly. Don't force yourself to practice other moves. I know, Brother Wei, go wash up. Kyuju said sensibly, I'll clean up here first and then go to rest. Okay. Wei Hong was not polite. He habitually walked to the patio, took advantage of the night to get 2 buckets of ice water to wash the stains on his body, and then went back to the room to change his robe and prepare to rest. But at this dead of night, suddenly, a firework slowly rose into the sky, and finally exploded in the night sky. The gorgeous firework formed a tiger head pattern for a long time, illuminating several surrounding markets. One arrow piercing the clouds, thousands of troops come to meet. Wei Hong's face changed suddenly. The fireworks technology of the Great Zhou dynasty has long been very mature. People set off fireworks every night from the first month to the Lantern Festival, so this firework looks nothing special. But only those who hang out on the streets know that these are the fireworks of the Tiger Head Gang to attract people. The gang rules clearly state that once you see the fireworks, no matter what you are doing, you must rush to your respective halls for support, otherwise you will be sentenced to 3 knives and 6 holes for gang crimes. At the same time, Wei Hong also heard bursts of whistle sounds coming from the street. There were also faint shouts of killing. Is the Tiger Head Gang blowing the whistle? Wei Hong took a breath of cold air, and his eyes flashed with a trace of doubt. Finally, as if he thought of something, he gradually became firm. After a while, the sleeping old Wei Tao was awakened. Grandma Wang and Chunlin, who were staying up late to embroider, also walked out of the house. Something happened. Wei Hong said concisely, the Tiger Head Gang fired arrows through the clouds, and they must have been fighting with other gangs, and they were probably attacked by surprise. Although it is not clear which gang it was, it is very likely to be the Viper Gang or the Blood Crow Gang. Xianbao Lane is located at the intersection of East Street and West Street. It is very easy to be robbed. You must not go out. If you encounter bandits fighting and shouting outside, don't pay attention. Don't light the lights at home. Everyone gasped in shock when they heard it. Listening to noisy shouting outside, it can be seen that the battle is definitely not small. From Wei Hong's tone, he wants to go out to fight? Isn't this crazy? Brother Hong, don't go. Grandma Wang advised anxiously, you are just a pig butcher. Even if you don't go, no one will find you. Why go and be cannon fodder? Yes, Brother Wei, in these years, when have the gangs fought each other, there has been blood and flesh flying everywhere. It's a mess in the middle of the night, it's too dangerous. Qiuju advised anxiously. Chunlin couldn't help but panic and said, who will protect us if you leave? What if someone comes to kill us? Wei Hong glanced at her coldly. Then he looked at old Wei in silence. The old man's eyes were filled with deep worry, but he was a man after all. He understood that Wei Hong sometimes needed to go against the wind, so he couldn't bear it anymore and didn't persuade him. Do I have to go? Old Wei said in a trembling voice. I must go. Wei Hong said with a firm look in his eyes, if the Tiger Head Gang really goes to war with the Blood Crow Gang, Zhang Fushan will definitely fight. The chaos is the best time to get rid of him. If you don't take what God gives you, you will suffer the consequences. If you don't welcome the time, you will suffer the consequences. God has created such a good opportunity for me. If I don't take action, it will be a pity. Grandpa, don't worry, I will come back alive. After speaking, Wei Hong turned and left. His eyes were firm and calm, and his heart was cold. Day and night, I practiced the dragon-slaying skills. Why should I be afraid of the sword being unsheathed today? The threat of Zhang Fushan has always been hanging over Wei Hong's head, making him uneasy day and night, fearing that he would be found and attacked by the other party one day. Now the outside world is in chaos. Even though Wei Hong didn't know anything, he was ready to go out and find out. If there is a chance to make a move, he will naturally not miss it. Being a cannon fodder? He is not interested. But Zhang Fushan must die tonight. In the night, Wei Hong flashed out of the street and disappeared. He walked in the streets and alleys of Anlafeng with ease, and soon saw the chaotic battlefield. On the street, many hooligans wearing the clothes of the Blood Crow Gang and the Tiger Head Gang were fighting crazily. Many of the temporary outside gang members tied cloth strips on their arms to distinguish between enemies and friends. The Blood Crow Gang tied red cloth strips, and the Tiger Head Gang tied white cloth strips. At a glance, there were shouts of killing everywhere, and the situation had already become a mess. Chapter 54, Chaos on a Moonlit Night, an Unexpected Surprise. Kill, 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 brothers, hold on, hold on. How dare the fucking Blood Crow Gang launch a sneak attack? Do they really think our Tiger Head Gang is a soft persimmon? Chop them up, I'll reward you 10 tails for each one you kill, kill. Waves of shouts and screams came from all over the streets. The Tiger Hut Gang's casinos, brothels, rice shops, meat shops, restaurants, and even the major branches in Anlafang were attacked. Rows of patrol soldiers in armor gathered in key blocks. They watched the two gangs fighting coldly, with no intention of stopping it. There were even a few people dressed as military generals drinking and eating meat in a restaurant nearby, chatting and laughing, looking down at this farce, as if they were looking at chess pieces on a chessboard. Chaos. It was really chaos. Wei Hong jumped onto the attic of a wealthy family along the street and scanned the surroundings. I saw with my own eyes that hundreds of gang members were fighting, and I also saw that each wealthy family organized their own servants to protect them. There were also many desperate criminals who took advantage of the fire in the dark and broke into civilians' homes to kill and rob. Wei Hong was calm and didn't want to care about this. Everyone has their own destiny. No matter how powerful he is, he can't suppress such a big riot alone. If the patrolling city guards don't care, how can he show off? If he hadn't guessed that it was a fight between the Blood Crow Gang and the Tiger Hut Gang tonight, he would never step out of the house. Now he has only one goal: kill Zhang Fushan. But how to find the other party has become a problem. The Siphon Casino where Zhang Fushan is located is the first batch of industries opened by the Blood Crow Gang after entering Anlafang. They came from other squares, and their own industries will definitely be wary of sneak attacks by others. In other words, he will most likely be in the Siphon Casino. Let's go and look for him first. If you really can't find him, catch a few Blood Crow Gang bastards and interrogate them. Wei Hong quickly sorted out his thoughts. In this chaotic situation, a clear mind is the first element. He glanced around again, his body blending into the night like a ghost, quietly avoiding one battlefield after another, and heading straight for the Siphon Casino. Fortunately, Wei Hong grew up in the Anlafang. He knows every street and every alley clearly. In addition, after practicing martial arts, he has sharp ears and eyes, and any slight movement can hardly escape his ears, so he easily avoided the conflict area and successfully arrived at the street where the Siphon Casino is located. The fighting on this street was also very fierce. Hundreds of people kept fighting here, and people fell to the ground and died from time to time during the fierce battles in twos and threes. The broken limbs and arms all over the ground were frightening, and the air was full of the strong smell of blood. The door of the casino was open. A group of Tiger Hut Gang members, led by a middle-aged strong man, were rushing forward with all their strength, trying to completely capture this casino. Zhang Fushan led people to defend with difficulty, and the entire casino hall had already been in chaos. Found you. Wei Hong's mouth curled slightly, and he lay silently in the dark corner of an attic, staring at his prey like a poisonous snake. He was not in a hurry to take action. After all, the situation was still unclear. His goal was just to kill Zhang Fushan. Whether the Tiger Hut Gang or the Blood Crow Gang won, Wei Hong didn't really care. All he had to do now was wait. Damn it, an outsider dares to act wild in Anlafang? Who gave you the courage? The middle-aged strong man waved a copper hammer, forcing Zhang Fushan to retreat again and again. He also had a long sword in his hand, and his sword skills were very good. Wei Hong silently observed the fight between the two and secretly compared it with Mankation. Zhang Fushan's arm strength is at most 1,200 jin, which is the limit of ordinary people. His sword skills are also somewhat advisable, but they are still a little behind my perfect 5-beast fist. His body skills are not bad. When fighting, he likes to use a life and death fighting style that hurts both sides. He is worthy of being a tough character who used to be a mountain bandit. Wei Hong roughly analyzed it and gradually felt confident. When he broke through on New Year's Eve, his arm strength was 900 jin. After half a month, he steadily increased by 8 or 9 jin every day. Now he has about 1,000 jin of strength. Although there is still a slight gap between the two. But this gap is too small, and the boxing and body skills alone are enough to make up for it. What's more, Zhang Fushan has now experienced a hard battle. Brothers, hold on. Damn, why haven't the reinforcements arrived yet? Zhang Fushan cursed, and a team of people really came from a distance. These are naturally the reinforcements of the Blood Crow Gang. They only have 20 or 30 people, but they are all covered in blood. Obviously, they have just experienced a hard battle. Kill. These people rushed into the battlefield with a roar. The Tiger Hut Gang, which had originally had the upper hand, immediately fell into disadvantage. Seeing that 7 or 8 of his brothers had fallen, the middle-aged strong man could only grit his teeth helplessly, waved his hand, and led his people to fight and retreat. Damn it. Zhang Fushan spit out a mouthful of blood and spit, rolled up his sleeves and shouted, "The injured brothers stay in the gambling house, and the others who can still move follow me. Tonight, I will kill all the bastards of the Tiger Head Gang." Yes. The morale of the Blood Crow Gang's minions suddenly soared. Zhang Fushan was eager to establish this prestige and naturally did not want to miss this opportunity. He sneered and led his men to chase and kill them hard. Wei Hong's eyes moved slightly and wanted to catch up immediately. But when he saw that there were only 5 or 6 minions guarding the gambling house after the battle, he couldn't help but chuckled. Isn't this a coincidence? After making the broken heart knife last time, I was short of money. I didn't expect to encounter an unexpected surprise. Money is the foundation of cultivation. Since it's my enemy's stuff, I won't be polite. Wei Hong rushed to the street in a flash, half squatted and put on the robe of a corpse, and cut off a piece of cloth to cover his mouth and nose. In this way, no one could recognize him. Hearing the sound of fighting fade away, he sneered and rushed directly into the gambling house. Who? The faces of the Blood Crow Gang members who were bandaging their wounds changed drastically. But before they reached out to grab the knife, Wei Hong had already dodged and rushed over fiercely. Puff. 2 strong men were knocked away on the spot. They were like being hit by a brown bear. Not only were their bones and muscles broken, but their internal organs were also shattered. They fell on the wall and vomited blood. The faces of the others changed drastically and they struggled to their death. But Wei Hong appeared beside them in a few flashes. Puff puff puff. A heartbreaking knife flashed with cold light, stabbing or cutting. The next moment, several people covered their necks in pain. Wei Hong cut and stabbed their necks, hearts, aortas and other important parts of their bodies. A small knife took their lives in an instant. After a few breaths, blood began to splatter. The already chaotic gambling house was even more bloody at this moment. Wei Hong slowly stood up and looked at the only survivor here with a half-smile. Please vote and read on. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55. He has done all kinds of evil, so it is not unjust to kill him. Don't kill me, don't kill me. Sir, please don't kill me. I have old people and young children, please have mercy. In a pool of blood, a skinny middle-aged man with a broken left arm knelt down in fear and begged for mercy. He was in a mess with tears streaming down his face, and he was obviously scared. After all, it took Wei Hong only a few breaths from the time he appeared to the time he killed everyone here. How could such a terrifying killing god not be terrifying? Money. Wei Hong uttered a word in a hoarse voice. The skinny middle-aged man immediately understood, and he hurriedly said, I said, all the money in the casino is in the warehouse in the backyard, and the key is in the hands of Master Zheng. He hasn't finished speaking. A knife has already stabbed into his throat. The skinny middle-aged man covered his neck, with a look of disbelief. Obviously, he didn't understand why the other party wanted to kill people even though he had cooperated so well. Wei Hong was too lazy to explain too much to him. Most of the people in the Blood Crow Gang did a lot of evil. He also knew the guy in front of him. He was also a bully who did all kinds of evil. It was not unfair to kill him. After repeatedly confirming that there were no survivors, Wei Hong did not immediately go to search for spoils. Instead, he searched up and down, left and right, and went straight to the warehouse after confirming that there were no survivors. Under normal circumstances, all major gambling houses submit accounts to the headquarters every 5 days. The Blood Crow Gang's surprise attack on the Tiger Head Gang was done in secret. In order not to leak information, they would definitely not transfer gambling funds. Therefore, when Wei Hong violently broke open the door of the warehouse, what came into view was a large box of silver, a small box of silver bills, and 3 boxes of copper coins. So many. Wei Hong took a breath. Looting the Siphon Casino was his temporary plan. First, to take the opportunity to earn some practice resources, and second, to rob ill-gotten gains. At the very least, after the failed assassination of Zhang Fushan, he lost so much silver, which was enough to make him unable to mix in the Blood Crow Gang. But he never expected such a big surprise. After a quick check, Wei Hong concluded that the silver here would not be less than 8,000 taels. There are probably more than 1,000 taels of silver ingots, 5,000 to 6,000 silver notes, and at least 700 to 800 strings of copper coins. Damn it, is it so profitable to open a casino? Wei Hong weighed the silver ingots in his hand, his face complicated. You know, half a year ago, he was still worried about his daily livelihood. Now he can easily come into contact with hundreds and thousands of taels of silver. It really seems like a dream. With so much money, he and his grandfather can live a worry-free life, right? But if he wants to use it for martial arts training, I'm afraid he won't be able to buy anything good. The casino certainly can't make so much money just by taking a cut. They probably make it by lending. Wei Hong frowned and thought for a moment, and immediately decided to take them all away, leaving nothing for the Blood Crow gang. But it's not easy to take all these boxes away. Wei Hong thought again and again, and immediately decided to keep 2 boxes of silver ingots and silver notes for himself. It's not easy to sell too many copper coins, so it's not bad to use them to do charity someday. As for taking them away, it is not difficult. There is an alley behind the gambling house that leads directly to Hugh Street. There are many wealthy families living here, and the rich mansion where Wei Hong secretly buried the body last time is among them. He only needs to hide all the boxes in it and use them after avoiding the limelight. He did it as soon as he said it. He stuffed all the silver bills into his lapel. Then he tied the box up with a cloth strip. Relying on the strength of more than 1,000 pounds of his single arm, he easily took the box away from the gambling house. Before leaving, he also sprinkled strong liquor and kerosene. He directly set fire to the siphon gambling house. Then Wei Hong quickened his pace to avoid the war, and easily sent the box to the Liu family mansion on Zhu Street, and found an empty warehouse to pile it up casually. He was not worried about the things being discovered. First of all, this is a rich mansion, and there is only one old servant guarding it. Most people will not come here to search, and the old servant does not have the energy to look after so many rooms. Secondly, the bulk of the banknotes had been taken away by him, so even if the box was discovered, it would not matter, and he would not suffer any loss. After some arrangements, Wei Hong quickly withdrew. At this moment, a raging fire had already ignited in the Siphon Casino. This fire not only alarmed the patrolling city guards, but also the top leaders of the Tiger Head Gang and the Blood Crow Gang. Many people were secretly angry and cursed, and the situation became more and more chaotic. Wei Hong went back and returned to the door of the Siphon Casino. He found a place to lie down and pretend to be a corpse, quietly waiting for the enemy to return. As a small leader of the casino, Zhang Fusheng's first task in this chaotic situation must be to defend the casino. He rashly attacked and hunted down the enemy. Now that there is chaos in the rear, how dare he sit idly by? Sure enough, in less than half a cup of tea, Zhang Fusheng retreated with more than a dozen people in embarrassment. He saw the raging fire in the casino and could not help but jump in anger. Who is it? Damn it, didn't I ask Zheng Ergao and the others to stay behind? How did it catch fire? Where are they? Master Zhang, since the casino is on fire, they must have been in trouble. A strong man said cautiously, let's put out the fire first. Yes, put out the fire, go put out the fire. Zhang Fusheng growled anxiously. The group began to look for water to put out the fire in a hurry. They kicked open the shops and restaurants next door, took buckets of water and started to work. For a while, the scene was even more chaotic. Zhang Fusheng was so anxious that bubbles appeared at the corners of his mouth, and he wanted to risk his life to rush into the sea of fire. He had just gained a foothold in the capital of gods, and he was thinking about showing off his position and prestige. Who would have thought that the backyard would catch fire inexplicably? Now the casino is burned. The gambling money in the warehouse is also unknown. If he couldn't put out the fire and bring the gambling money out safely, Zhang Fusheng almost didn't dare to imagine what would happen to him. His heart was already filled with fear at this moment, and he didn't notice that there was danger lurking not far from him. Wei Hong was lying in the pile of corpses, and he didn't care about the hustle and bustle on the street. He closed his eyes and silently sensed everything around him, and also noticed Zhang Fusheng's anxiety and helplessness. This guy had been fighting and running around, and suddenly suffered such a drastic change. Not only was his physical strength seriously exhausted, but even his mental strength, spirit, and vigilance had been reduced to the freezing point. At this time, he was afraid that he didn't even have 60% of his usual strength. Now, Wei Hong roared in his heart. His body was like a bowstring with power. He suddenly pushed his hand and jumped, and instantly appeared behind Zhang Fusheng. Lightning fists and kicks came like a storm. Who? Master Zhang, be careful. Amidst waves of exclamations, Zhang Fushan didn't even have time to draw his sword, and he was so scared that he raised his hand to deal with it. In the blink of an eye, he had no idea of Wei Hong's background, and for a moment he had no idea how to defend himself. He was instantly hit by 7 kicks, 3 punches, and a knife. Puff. Zhang Fushan took 3 steps back and knelt on one knee on the ground. He covered his right abdomen and vomited blood in embarrassment. Chapter 56 Death of Zhang Fushan, Masked Man. Master Zhang, are you okay? Damn it, brothers, grab your weapons. Be careful, it's hard to get your hands on. The sudden fight immediately alarmed the Blood Crow gang members who were trying to put out the fire. They drew their swords and surrounded them from all directions, cursing. Each of them had a fierce and cruel look in their eyes, and they were all desperate criminals who had been fighting for years. But Wei Hong was not afraid at all. He stared at Zhang Fushan, who was kneeling on one knee on the ground, with a smile on his face, and his eyes were full of coldness. Who are you? Zhang Fushan gritted his teeth and asked, when did the Tiger Head Gang have a hidden guy like you? I'm not from the Tiger Head Gang. Wei Hong deliberately sneered in a hoarse voice. You. Zhang Fushan's face suddenly changed. If he is not from the Tiger Head Gang, there is only one possibility. You are the mastermind who killed my brother. Zhang Fushan's eyes widened, and he couldn't help spitting out a mouthful of blood. He never thought that the other party had been staring at him secretly. And he came to me at this chaotic time. How dare you? Zhang Fushan became more and more angry as he thought about it. He couldn't help but said madly, I haven't taken the initiative to come to my door to kill you, but you dare to come to my door, go to hell. Shoo. He suddenly drew his sword out of the sheath and prepared to fight back. But the next moment, Wei Hong had already rushed over like a cannonball. After knocking away 2 strong men who blocked the road, he attacked Zhang Fushan like crazy. He didn't show any trace of the 5-beast fist. He only used the most primitive and brutal fists and feet to attack, but he had a lot of afterimages. A series of fists and feet fell madly, as if drowning Zhang Fushan directly like a storm. Get out of here. Zhang Fushan hurriedly drew his sword to resist. Ding ding ding. A series of metal and iron clanging sounds rang out one after another. The 2 people collided with each other crazily, and the long sword and the small knife kept colliding and sparking, followed by blood splattering. The fierce battle made it impossible for anyone to intervene. After just a few breaths, the 2 separated again. Wei Hong was still safe and sound, but his blood was boiling and almost bursting his robes, and the evil spirit on his body almost turned into substance. Zhang Fushan was a bit miserable. He had several more wounds on his body. And these wounds were all in the abdomen, and each one of them penetrated deep into his lungs. Although a strong person who has perfected the skin refining can control the contraction of the skin membrane and close the wound to prevent blood loss, Wei Hong was too vicious, and pierced his internal organs with one knife after another. As a result, his internal organs are bleeding crazily. No matter how strong his vitality is, it is difficult for the gods to save him. You? Zhang Fushan's body was shaky. Large mouthfuls of blood spurted out of his mouth and nose, and even his breathing was unstable. Die? Wei Hong was too lazy to talk to him, and rushed over fiercely again. Zhang Fushan slashed with a knife in panic, hoping to force him back and escape, but Wei Hong raised his hand and grabbed him. Ling. The long knife fell on his palm, as if it was slashing on a piece of iron. Not only was he clamped on the spot, but also sparks flew out. It's over. There was no time to think. The next moment, the heartbreaker passed by, and Zhang Fushan's heart was directly pierced. He stared with unwilling eyes, slowly fell to the ground and died. Wei Hong silently wiped the blood on the heartbreaker onto his clothes, and then turned his head casually to look at other people. These hooligans of the Blood Crow gang had already been scared to the point of scalp numbness, with a face full of vigilance but dared not step forward. Swish, swish, swish. Wei Hong was too lazy to talk nonsense, and raised his hand to greet with a burst of flying needles. The flying needles flashed in the dark night and hit everyone instantly. Ah, ah, ah. Amid the screams, all the hooligans around covered their eyes and wailed in pain. Wei Hong's figure rushed into the crowd like a ghost, easily harvested their lives and then withdrew. In the blink of an eye, the street in front of the Siphon Casino was already full of dead bodies. Great revenge has been avenged. This time, it can be regarded as a comfort to Uncle Lu's spirit in heaven. At the same time, a threat was completely solved and some money was made. With 3 birds with 1 stone, Wei Hong felt extremely happy and even walked a little faster. Let's go back first. The streets are still too chaotic after all. After I go back, I will think about whether there are any omissions tonight. At the same time, I have to review the battle with Zhang Fushan. Wei Hong murmured in his heart. After confirming that no one was following him, he was ready to go to Xianbao Lane. But just when he turned into an alley, he met a person. To be precise, it was a masked person. He was tall and dressed in night clothes, with cold eyes, holding a knife dripping with blood in his hand, and there were more than a dozen disciples of the Tiger Head Gang on the ground. Huh? The other party was also stunned. Obviously, he didn't expect to meet the same masked person in the middle of the night. Interesting, what are you doing? The masked man spoke hoarsely. Wei Hong didn't say anything, but the hand hidden in his sleeve silently grasped the handle of the knife, and at the same time, he looked at the other party vigilantly. This person gave him a very familiar feeling. It seemed like I've seen him before, but it also seemed strange. The voice was obviously deliberately disguised, so people couldn't tell what he said. I'm just passing by. Wei Hong also answered in a hoarse voice, you have your own things to do, and I have my own things to do. How about we keep out of each other's way? Okay, please. The masked man chuckled. Please. Wei Hong stepped forward without fear. He walked along the alley as usual. Until they passed each other, they both attacked at the same time. Ling. The heartbroken knife and the opponent's long knife collided 3 times in a row. Wei Hong didn't think about it and pressed down close, and the knife in his hand attacked the opponent's bottom lane frantically. The masked man exclaimed and was forced to retreat again and again. Come again. The masked man roared, holding the knife with both hands and slashing horizontally. Wei Hong dodged flexibly, sometimes as light as a white crane, and sometimes as jumping as a monkey. He kept wandering around the opponent, looking for an opportunity to fight in close combat. It just so happened that this man had outstanding swordsmanship, and he was able to defend himself perfectly. At the same time, his strength was also stronger than Zhang Fushan's. In a dozen breaths, Wei Hong fought with him for dozens of moves. Every move was full of danger, and he didn't get any advantage at all. Awesome. Wei Hong secretly admired in his heart, Shendu is indeed a place with hidden dragons and crouching tigers. There is nothing to be proud of for killing Zhang Fushan by sneak attack. I am still too weak. Haha. The masked man also sneered, good skills, if it were somewhere else, I would definitely fight you well, but let's forget it today, you don't want to alarm others and make us both unable to escape, right? Of course, I said that we should keep our distance. Wei Hong replied. Okay. The masked man didn't say anything more. The two slowly retreated face to face, and turned away when they were far apart. This inexplicable conflict ended here. Wei Hong didn't know who the other party was from beginning to end, why he wanted to kill the people of the Tiger Head Gang, and he didn't even recognize his martial arts moves. However, in the split second of the fight just now, Wei Hong still saw a little feature of this person. Half of the nail on his left little finger was black, as if it was bruised by something heavy. He quietly memorized this information in his mind. Once he sees this person in the future, he will at least be alert in advance. Chapter 57, When prosperity comes, the people suffer. When decline comes, the people suffer. Winter is gone and spring is here. Time flies. It is already mid-March. Although the weather in early spring is still very cold, it is better than winter. The heavy snow that has been covering the capital all day has slowly dissipated. The refugees gathered outside the city have finally been properly resettled. The court spent a lot of money to send people to escort them back home, and the public security in the major markets of the capital has improved a lot, no longer the chaotic situation in the past. As for the last conflict between the Tiger Head Gang and the Blood Crow Gang, it was just a game between big men. Thousands of people were killed and injured, but they couldn't even make a splash in this huge capital. Wei Hong resumed his peaceful life in the past. He killed pigs, practiced martial arts, and occasionally went to the martial arts hall to practice with others. Now he is stronger and stronger, and he got several thousand taels of stolen money from the casino. He is too lazy to go to the martial arts hall to make money every day. Most of the time, he just goes to the tea house to drink tea. A pot of tea and a few dishes. One person and a friend sat alone on the second floor of the tea house. Sitting on the street and watching the people coming and going, listening to the storyteller on the stage telling the story of the changing court, the struggle of martial arts forces, and the traces of immortals everywhere, it is a good enjoyment. It is said that there was a heavy snow last winter, and the disaster spread to the 4 states of Su, Qing, Kang, and Qing. The people affected were hundreds of millions, and the number of casualties was unknown. During this period, there were rebellions by the princes of various places, and the barbarians in the border areas kept blocking the gates and looting. The largest group of rebels belonged to the king of Wei. To say that this king of Wei is the younger brother of the current emperor, he is only 42 years old. Not only does he own the fiefdom of Shuzhou, where the people are tough, but he also has the Xianyang Chamber of Commerce, which is rich enough to rival a country, to provide him with military supplies and armor. He has millions of soldiers sweeping across the states like a roll of cloth. Now Mizhou, Guizhou and other places have been occupied by the rebels, and the adults in the court are still arguing over who will lead the army to quell the rebellion. It is really sad and lamentable. On the stage, the storyteller narrated with emotion, shaking his head. The audiences were either cursing or sighing about the end of the dynasty. But they turned around and only cared about what to eat at home. Anyway, there are tall people to hold up the sky if it falls. The Zhou dynasty has been in constant rebellion for 800 years, and no one has ever heard of anyone being able to conquer the capital. There is no need to worry too much. After all, it is not me who will be unlucky in the end. When a country prospers, the people suffer. When a country perishes, the people suffer. Wei Hong could not help but sigh. After a great disaster, there is war. I wonder how horrible the scene would be in other states where 9 out of 10 houses are empty and people have to eat their children. Fortunately, we were born in the capital of the gods. Although we started out in poverty, we have managed to get by. That makes sense. Lin Wusheng agreed with a smile. You are becoming more and more like a scholar with compassion for the world. Now you don't look like a butcher at all, but more like the son of a powerful and wealthy family. Uncle Lin, don't joke with me. Wei Hong laughed. I like butchering pigs. I don't have to work hard every day. I can make an appointment with 2 friends to drink tea and listen to books, or go to a brothel to listen to music. Isn't it wonderful? You are smart. Lin Wusheng continued to joke, but you should also consider getting married and having children. You will be 17 soon, and you should be crowned next year. Ordinary farmers' children already have children at your age. Your grandfather is very anxious. Speaking of this, Wei Hong couldn't help but secretly have a headache. Old Wei saw that his family was gradually getting richer. With enough food and clothing, he naturally looked forward to holding his great-grandchildren every day, but Wei Hong had no interest in getting married and having children, so he wasted his time looking for a woman of the right age. You are just too ambitious. Lin Wusheng said while drinking tea. You have a good livelihood by slaughtering pigs. Now that you have learned martial arts and found a powerful force to rely on, your life will get better and better. Although you are not worthy of a wealthy family, you can still find a clean woman from a small family to be your wife. As the saying goes, there are 3 unfilial acts, and the worst is to have no descendants. For the sake of the old man, you should get married as soon as possible. The Liu family of Liuji clothing store on West Street has a daughter who is now 15 years old and beautiful. The Liu family is also interested in you. Wei Hong raised his hand to stop him when he heard it. He shook his head helplessly and smiled bitterly. Uncle Lin, are you here to lobby for my grandfather? I was wondering how you could find time to have tea with me, so that's it. I can't help it, old Wei comes to me to complain every day. Lin Wusheng said confidently, as your elder, I have to help with some things. My business is not urgent. Wei Hong refused with a wry smile. He really had no interest in a 15 or 16-year-old girl. Forget it. Lin Wusheng was also a sensible person. He casually changed the subject and said, I heard recently that there was an interesting thing in the slums. There was a kind man who came from nowhere and threw money into the homes of poor households every night. Don't you think it's weird? Oh? There is such a thing. Wei Hong pretended to be surprised. That's right. Lin Wusheng took a sip of tea and continued, do you still remember old Lu who used to sell offal soup on the street? He was seriously ill and had no money for treatment. His family cried every day. They had already prepared straw mats and mourning clothes to deal with the matter, but they received several strings of copper coins at night. He went to the medical clinic for treatment these days and he came back to life. Now he burns incense at home every day to pray for his benefactor. I don't know who is so kind. Wei Hong raised his eyebrows and smiled without saying anything. Who can be so kind in this day and age when everyone is in danger? It was because he took the gambling money from the Blood Crow Gang's Siphon Casino and had 3 boxes of copper coins with nowhere to spend. After the limelight passed, he simply went to send warmth at night. These copper coins are not much, but they can help a lot of people. It's just a matter of convenience, and it can be regarded as accumulating some virtue. And Lin Wusheng suddenly said in a serious tone, I just heard that the leader of this Hongai Hall of the Tiger Hut Gang died of a serious illness this morning. The news has just spread. You should be careful. Wei Hong paused while drinking tea and frowned subconsciously. He naturally understood what Lin Wusheng meant. The last time the Blood Crow Gang attacked the Tiger Hut Gang, it was rumored that the leader of this Hongai Hall dragged his sick body, which had not yet recovered, to force the leader of the Disha Hall of the Blood Crow Gang to retreat, and then he disappeared without a trace. Now 2 months have passed, and he still couldn't hold on. In this way, others may not have any trouble, but there will definitely be turmoil in this Hongai Hall. Several deputy hall masters will probably beat their brains out in order to fight for power. At the same time, Zhu's meat shop will definitely be implicated. The big boss and the second boss were not on good terms. Now the backer behind Zhu's Sihei died suddenly. Will the second boss Tan Fei take the opportunity to make trouble? Thank you Uncle Lin for your reminder. You are really well informed. Wei Hong couldn't help but sigh. You kid, are you still in the mood to joke? Lin Wusheng said unhappily, you should think about yourself. If you are being bullied, you should move to another place as soon as possible. What are you afraid of? We can deal with any problem. Wei Hong smiled indifferently, and his heart was calm. He is no longer the same as before, so why should he be afraid of a small-scale turmoil? Please vote and read more. Chapter 58, Molten Iron to Refine Skin, Another Breakthrough. In the evening, Wei Hong returned to Xianbao Lane with a box of cakes and a bag of braised beef. The children in the lane were playing and fighting, and the neighbors were eating and drinking. These real human fireworks made him feel good every time he saw them. Brother Hong, you're back. You can't call me Brother Hong, you have to call me Wei the Butcher. Ha ha ha, old Wei has a good grandson. Along the way, the neighbors teased and joked. While Wei Hong was greeting happily, he took out candies from his arms and gave them to the children. Soon, all the children in the lane crowded over happily. It has been a few months since we moved here. The Wei family has gradually integrated into this place, and the atmosphere between the neighbors is very harmonious and friendly. Look, look! Aunt Wang next door said happily, Brother Hong brings candies to the children every now and then, you are going to spoil them. It's not worth much? Wei Hong smiled indifferently. After the children reluctantly asked him to stay, he returned home. At this time, Grandma Wang and her grandchildren had already cooked dinner. Chunlin and Qiuju saw him coming back, one took the cakes and beef from him, and the other hurriedly brought a basin of water. Brother Wei, wash your hands, we can eat soon. Qiuju said with a smile. Don't bother, I'll go to the well and wash my hands by myself. Wei Hong said dissatisfiedly, don't always think of yourself as a servant, it's too formal. I'm happy to do so. Qiuju laughed. Wei Hong shook his head and said nothing more. Just as he was about to invite everyone to have dinner together, Qiuju put down the basin and took out a set of blue brocade clothes from the house, saying, Brother Wei, try this set of clothes first. I made it for you. If it doesn't fit, I'll make some changes. Okay, thank you for your hard work. Wei Hong didn't refuse again. He often bought some cloth home. Grandma Wang and her grandchildren were clever and skillful. The clothes he and his grandfather wore were all made by them, which were more comfortable than the ready-made clothes in ordinary tailor shops. The brocade clothes that Qiuju sewed this time were also good. Not only were the stitches fine and the layers clear, but the inner layer also had specially designed hidden pockets. The joints of the hands and feet were also widened, which was just right for a warrior like him who needed to show off his skills. Just right. Wei Hong tried it and said, no need to change it, just like this. Let's eat first, I bought Linji's braised beef today. Yes, 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 let's eat first, I'm starving. Wow, it smells so good. Laughter and joy suddenly rang out in the small courtyard. Wei Hong is now well off, and there are 3 or 5 dishes on the table every day, with pork, mutton, fish, and beef every day, and the oil and water are very sufficient. Grandma Wang's face is much rosier than before. Chunlin Qiuju is no longer as thin as before, and is becoming more and more like a graceful young lady. She even successfully entered the embroidery room of the Hongyan Chamber of Commerce as an embroiderer. Now the two of them can earn 2 or 3 taels of hard-earned money every month. Grandma Wang's family is gradually getting better off. I can't even dream of living like this now. Grandma Wang thought of something while eating, and couldn't help wiping away tears. Thanks to your kindness, grandparents and grandchildren, otherwise we. Sister Wang, look at what you said, saying these things again. Old Wei hurriedly comforted her. Wei Hong also hurriedly picked up some food to stop her sighing, saying, Grandma Wang, don't say these discouraging words, come on, keep eating. Okay, keep eating. The meal was a great pleasure for both the host and the guests. After eating, Wei Hong immediately devoted himself to practicing. For 2 months, he practiced hard every day, refining his skin with various rough means day and night, and his skin membranes all over his body suffered hellish torture, which was even more terrifying than climbing a mountain of knives and going into a frying pan. Growth is also very rapid under pain. Although his progress in refining his skin was getting slower and slower, after 2 months, he finally reached the limit of the middle stage of refining his skin. Tonight is the best time for him to break through. I have to shed my skin again. Wei Hong asked Chuju to stay outside the practice room and not allow anyone to disturb him. As usual, he lit the furnace, pulled the bellows and began to boil the molten iron. This time he did not use copper water, but specially asked a blacksmith to make a new pot mixed with some black iron, and then put the iron block in to boil. Iron has a higher melting point than copper, and requires a higher temperature. Wei Hong took great pains to melt the iron block into liquid. Then he began to put his palm into the molten iron. Zzz. A burst of white smoke rose, accompanied by severe pain. Wei Hong did not wail, and even his expression did not change at all. For such a long time, he had been washing his whole body with copper water every day. His skin membrane had long been as hard as if it was coated with layers of copper water, and his endurance had long been qualitatively improved. This kind of pain was nothing to him. Of course, the effect of molten iron on skin refining is also amazing. After a while, Wei Hong once again experienced the pain of skin and flesh being torn apart and blood and flesh being boiled. This pain is 100 times more terrible than Lingqi. If it were not for the endless vitality restoration, he would not dare to be so reckless. Gradually, Wei Hong began to splash the molten iron all over his body. He did not miss any place and kept applying the high-temperature molten iron. The pain began to increase exponentially. Even though Wei Hong had long been accustomed to the severe pain, he could not help but grit his teeth and look ferocious. Unfortunately, after a while, the progress of skin refining was still stuck at 99 out of 100. The last step restricted him tightly, and no matter how hard he tried, he could not break through. Damn it! A trace of madness rose in Wei Hong's eyes. He glanced at the huge amount of vitality accumulated on his attribute board. He grabbed the towel and stuffed it into his mouth, and then lay directly in the iron pot. Puff puff puff. The hot molten iron splashed all around. A more exaggerated white smoke quickly enveloped the entire training room. More than half of Wei Hong's body was soaked in the molten iron. The horrible pain came like a tide, and he couldn't help but let out a terrifying low roar. But he still endured it. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths, 5 breaths. Just when Wei Hong was almost cooked, the energy and blood in his body began to surge wildly. Hoo. Wei Hong gasped for breath. He used his last bit of strength to escape from the iron pot and fell to the ground in the training room. In the last moment before he fainted, he chose to add points crazily. Then his eyes went dark and he fainted completely. In a daze, he felt a warm and majestic vitality constantly repairing his injuries. His whole body was itchy, and his skin began a new round of transformation. The old skin on his body began to crack and fall off layer by layer. He was like a snake shedding its skin. Unknowingly, the new skin had broken free from its shackles and emerged. Although it was white and tender, it had a faint metallic temperament. Even the flesh and blood under Wei Hong's skin changed inadvertently. Every beat of his heart carried the rolling energy and blood, which began to flow throughout his body. Please vote and read more. Chapter 59, Golden Body Protection, The Heart of All Beasts. Brother Wei, wake up. Are you okay? Wake up. A call came from his ear. Wei Hong, who had been unconscious for an unknown period of time, slowly regained consciousness. He opened his eyes and looked around. and saw Chuju squatting beside him with an anxious look on her face. It was obviously her call just now. "Brother Wei, you finally woke up, are you okay?" Chuju's face lit up. "Nothing." Wei Hong shook his head and asked casually, "How long have I been unconscious?" "I don't know." Chuju quickly replied, "You went into practice at 5 p.m. After 2 p.m., there was no movement in the room. I thought you were practicing the standing practice and didn't disturb you. It wasn't until 11 p.m. that I realized something was wrong and came in to check. It's probably 3 p.m. now." "Huh?" Wei Hong exhaled a long breath of waste gas. He had been unconscious for more than half an hour. Fortunately, he was in his own home, otherwise he would have lost his life if he encountered a thief. Next time, he must not practice so recklessly. However, after glancing at his new skin and the large area of old skin that had fallen off on the ground, he couldn't help but smile. "Xiaju, go and rest first. You have to go to the embroidery room tomorrow." Wei Hong waved his hand and said, "I just fainted because of my breakthrough. I'm fine now." "Don't worry. Brother Wei, have you made another breakthrough? That's great." Kyuju was full of joy. "Don't let it out." "Okay." Kyuju nodded repeatedly. She closed the door considerately and left without disturbing him. Only then did Wei Hong have time to check the results of his breakthrough. Host, Wei Hong, age 17/72, life points 8,764, health points 151.7, realm, late leather refining realm 1/100, skills, 13 tiger moves extreme, talent, tiger roar, 100 forging golden body skills extreme, talent, golden body protection, martial arts, 5 beast fist extreme, talent, heart of beasts, basic hidden weapons extreme, talent, laser shooting, magical powers, none, skills, cooking great mastery, 129/800, fishing mastery, 45 out of 300, slaughtering great mastery, 758/800, tips, 100 vitality points can increase lifespan by 1 year, 100 vitality points can increase health points by 1 point, 1 vitality point can increase skill proficiency by 1 point. The HP has exceeded 150, so the strength of one arm should have reached 1,500 Jin, right? If I fight with Zhang Fushan now, I'm afraid I can kill him with one move. In addition, the defense should have been improved a lot. Wei Hong pulled out the Heartbreaker and stabbed his palm viciously. But the white and tender palm was like a diamond. Not only did it bounce off the attack, but the flesh and blood membrane would harden at the moment of attack, making people feel like being stabbed into a piece of iron. Hiss. Wei Hong took a breath of cold air in surprise. He never expected that his defense would be so amazing. You know, this Heartbreaker made of black iron, even Zhang Fushan, who has perfected the skin refining, can't block it, and I have just entered the late stage of skin refining, but my defense is stronger than him? Not bad, not bad. Wei Hong was very surprised and saw that he had accumulated thousands of vitality. He simply added most of the vitality to the HP. Ling. 8,000 vitality points deducted, health points plus 80, current health points 231.7, Wei Hong suddenly took a breath of cold air. He felt a great vitality rushing into his body. His blood and ki began to surge, so much so that his face began to turn red. If it weren't for the fact that the membrane he had just broken through was several times stronger, he would have been blown up by his blood and ki at this moment. Unconsciously, Wei Hong's body size was also skyrocketing. On weekdays, his body size was only about 8 feet. But now his arms and thighs were like pork pie. His body size also suddenly surged to more than 9 feet and 5 inches, and the whole person was like a little giant. His clothes were instantly torn apart, revealing the tangled and distinct terrifying muscles. At this moment, Wei Hong even had the illusion that he could blow up a house with one punch. But he knew that this was just an illusion. His life value suddenly surged, and if he couldn't control his strength well under the abundant blood and ki, his combat effectiveness would decrease. Only by studying hard and digesting and controlling all the life value can the strength grow steadily. Huh? Wei Hong smiled with satisfaction and slowly gathered his blood. After the surging blood and energy subsided, his body shape gradually returned to normal. However, his skin was still as white as jade, and people could tell at a glance that he had just undergone a molting process, which inevitably exposed his strength. Taking advantage of the night, Wei Hong simply cleaned the training room. Then he went to the well to fetch water as usual to wash off the dirt on his body. After he changed into a brand new set of tight clothes, he couldn't help but estimate his own strength. Now I only need one move to kill Zhang Fusheng at most. The masked man who had fought before was also confident that he could win in 10 moves. Meng Qian should not be able to withstand my 100 moves. Although I can't be considered invincible in the skin refining realm, if I'm not mistaken, it's hard to find a skin refining realm strongman who can compete with me in the entire God City, right? Wei Hong was very confident in his own strength. His biggest gain from this breakthrough was not the sudden increase in strength. It was the increase in defense and the talent that appeared after each martial art was pushed to the limit. 13 Tiger Movement's ultimate talent, Tiger Roar, visualized the tiger's divine will and let out a roar, which has the effect of shocking the enemy's mind. 100 Forging Golden Body ultimate talent, Golden Body Protection. When you run the technique at full power, a golden body defense layer will condense under the membrane, which can enhance the defense several times for 5 breaths. 5 Beast Fist ultimate talent, Heart of 100 Beasts. When practicing beast-type martial arts, the comprehension ability increases by 300%. Basic Hidden Weapon ultimate talent, Laser Shooting. Increase hand speed by 50% when launching a hidden weapon. These martial arts were all pushed to the limit by Wei Hong by adding points. Then, after they reached the limit, a talent appeared respectively. With these talents, his combat effectiveness can be said to have made a qualitative leap. If he fought Meng Qian again in private, Wei Hong would definitely make him feel what despair is, and crush him head-on. It's been only 3 months since my last breakthrough. If people knew that I've reached a late stage of skin refining in less than half a year, this. Wei Hong's heart tightened and he thought to himself that it was not good. Being too prominent is not a good thing. The last breakthrough had already attracted enough attention for him. If the news of this breakthrough spread again, I'm afraid it would not only attract the attention of ordinary people. The children of powerful and wealthy families take medicine all year round, but it takes 1 or 2 years to break through. You, a butcher, have broken through twice in half a year. Are you so high profile that you don't want to live? Even if people are secretly jealous and calculating, being so high profile is not conducive to his plan to kill pigs and develop. I must find a way to change my skin color. Wei Hong sighed. Please vote and read more. Chapter 60. If I am not welcome here, there will be other places that will welcome me. Changing skin color is not difficult. Just find some herbs, crush them to extract their juice, and then apply it on your body. After a while of tinkering, Wei Hong managed to paint his skin dark yellow. Although it may be a little different from usual, it is still not easy to see without careful observation. Ling. Primary Disguise Skill Proficiency +1. Current proficiency is entry level 1/100. Huh? This is alright. Wei Hong raised his eyebrows and seemed a little speechless. I just tinkered with it and the panel included the disguise skill? But think about it, this does change the appearance, so it can be considered as barely. In this way, I just need to max out its proficiency. Wouldn't I have learned a disguise skill without a teacher? Wei Hong laughed dumbly. After a simple wash, he went back to his room to rest for 2 hours. In the second half of the night, he went to the butcher shop to work as usual. But the atmosphere in the butcher shop today seemed a little strange. On weekdays, Zhu Sihei was in charge of the overall situation, and everyone was chatting and laughing while waiting for the pigs to be slaughtered. But today, the whole place was silent. Not only was Zhu Sihei nowhere to be seen, but Tan Fei, who is usually not present, also came here. He was a tall, serious man. When he looked over with cold eyes, he always gave people a faint sense of oppression. Second in command. Wei Hong greeted him indifferently. Tan Fei had no expression on his face and did not say anything, still waiting for others to arrive. Dan Yu, is there anything wrong? Wei Hong asked in a low voice. I don't know. Li Danyu hesitated to say, wait, it looks a little wrong. Yes. Wei Hong nodded indifferently. He didn't care what was going to happen. The butcher and the butcher shop were in an employment relationship. In the past, the big and second-in-command disagreement did not affect them much, but just some different work arrangements. If he was not happy with the job, he could always go to another butcher shop to slaughter pigs. If I can't stay here, I will go somewhere else. Can a living person be suffocated to death? So Wei Hong was not panicked at all, just standing aside and waiting silently. But suddenly his eyes focused for a moment, and suddenly frowned secretly. Black nails. Wei Hong actually saw the black mark on the finger of the masked man who he accidentally met on the night of the Lantern Festival on the little finger of Tan Fei's left hand. This mark is very special. It's like the blood clots accumulated on the finger when a heavy object hits it. It is highly unlikely that ordinary people have it on their hands. Could it be that Tan Fei is the masked man? Hiss. Isn't his backer the deputy head of this Hongai Hall? Why did he kill so many people from the Tiger Head gang that night? Wei Hong was puzzled, and felt that this person must have a big secret. However, these had nothing to do with him, and he didn't want to get involved. Wei Hong just withdrew his gaze lightly, pretending that he didn't know about this. Are all the people here? Tan Fei, who had been silent all the time, finally spoke. He said in a cold voice, the big boss suddenly fell ill. From now on, I will be in charge of the butcher shop. You should do what you should do on weekdays. Everything remains unchanged. Do you understand? Yes. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. But privately, they couldn't help but look strange. What do you mean the big boss is sick? It's obvious that his power has been taken away. Next, the second boss Tan Fei will probably have to take charge of everything. But as long as it doesn't affect themselves, no one will be stupid enough to step out at this time. Wei Hong, Li Daniu. Tan Fei suddenly spoke. Second boss, do you have any instructions? Li Daniu hurriedly smiled, and Wei Hong also frowned and looked over. Tan Fei directly ordered, the old man of Cheng Mansion is hosting a birthday banquet today, and he wants 2 butchers from our butcher shop to help slaughter the elk. You two will finish the work at hand as soon as possible, and go to Cheng Mansion after dawn. This. Li Daniu looked embarrassed. He subconsciously looked at Wei Hong, and obviously didn't want to take this job. On weekdays, if the rich families have banquets, they will indeed ask the butcher shop to send people to help, slaughtering all kinds of pigs, cattle, sheep, and elks. If they do a good job, they will naturally be rewarded, but if they don't do a good job, they will cause trouble for no reason, so most people dare not take it. Wei Hong thought about it, but nodded and said, I'll make a note of it. Okay. Tan Fei nodded with satisfaction and continued to arrange for other people to work. Li Daniu couldn't help but complain in a low voice when he saw this. Brother Hong, why did you agree? We haven't worked alone in rich families before. What if something goes wrong? How can you make mistakes when doing your old job? Wei Hong sneered and asked back, do you want to contradict the second in command on his first day in charge? No, I dare not. Li Daniu shut up immediately. He is an honest man, so he naturally dare not show up. Wei Hong chuckled and said nothing more. The two rolled up their sleeves and tied aprons, and immediately started to work. Soon, there were a few more pigs and sheep under the knife. Message prompts popped up one by one, and the amount of vitality continued to increase. Wei Hong couldn't help but smile with satisfaction. It was good to be able to brush vitality safely. He didn't care who was in charge and seized power. Anyway, it had no effect on him. The slaughtering skill that was about to reach the perfect level made him kill pigs like a fish in water. Although he couldn't reach the legendary level of butchering an ox, he could completely cut a pig along the joints without hurting any bones with just an ordinary meat cleaver. From bleeding a pig to shaving, removing the limbs, and cutting the meat. It would take 2 ordinary knifemen half an hour to finish the work. But Wei Hong could easily finish it in less than 2 incense sticks with 1 knife. Now he is recognized as the best knifeman in the whole butcher shop. Whether it is strength or craftsmanship, it is absolutely unmatched by other knifemen. Brother Wei, can you chat? Zhao Jichen couldn't help but come over and speak while the people around him were not paying attention. What to talk about? Wei Hong asked back with a smile, but his hands did not stop at all, and half of the pig was easily dismembered and divided. You saw it, didn't you? Zhao Jichen said unwillingly. Now that the big boss's backer has just fallen, the second boss can't wait to seize power, and he also arranged for you and Daniu to work in the rich family's house. It's clear that he has bad intentions. What if you accidentally offend the rich family? Do you think you might get into trouble? You have to be careful. Really? Wei Hong didn't want to pay attention to this, and asked directly, what do you want to do? Nothing, just chatting. Zhao Jichen smiled awkwardly. He hesitated for a while, and finally said nothing more. Just before leaving, he said, Brother Wei, you'd better not forget who led you to the butcher shop. It's not a good thing to be ungrateful. Wei Hong paused and glanced at his back. What does this guy mean? Could it be that the big boss and the third boss are preparing to set up a new business, and then want Zhao Jichen to come and test it? Interesting. Wei Hong shook his head indifferently. He didn't make a choice immediately. Favors are favors, and choices are choices. No matter what they were planning behind the scenes, they couldn't kidnap him. Chapter 61. The Grand Banquet at the Chengfu Palace is full of vitality. Early in the morning, Cheng Mansion on Anlafang South Street. Because of the birthday of the old man of Cheng Mansion, the house was decorated with lanterns and guests gathered early in the morning. Hundreds of servants were busy in and out, and the backyard was even more lively. Wei Hong and Li Dani were like Liu Liao entering the Grand View Garden. They were led by a servant all the way to the side yard. Today, there are probably hundreds of tables of buffets. The pigs and sheep are all ordered from the butcher shop, but the venison needs to be killed on the spot. Please trouble the two butchers. During the banquet, all kinds of powerful and wealthy families will come. You two just stay in the back kitchen. Don't walk around and bump into the nobles. The servant patiently reminded. Wei Hong and the others naturally nodded and said yes. After a while, the three arrived at the side yard. Cheng Mansion occupies a large area with a total of 7 courtyards, 4 of which have kitchens. The kitchen in the side yard is just one of them. At this moment, there are also many people busy here. There is a table at the door of the kitchen. There were several elks imprisoned in iron cages nearby. They were tall and had ferocious horns, muscular bodies, and shiny fur. They were completely unlike the deer in Wei Hong's impression. Is this a deer? Of course. Li Daniu explained in a low voice, this is a Kingine deer with rare blood of demon beasts. They are extremely powerful and faster than tigers and leopards. They only live in high mountains and swamps, and are difficult to hunt unless they are strong in the bone refining realm. It is said that their flesh and blood can be used as medicine to nourish bones, and their fur can be made into leather armor. Each one is priceless. The butcher is right. The servant nearby said with a smile, today, a total of 7 Kingine deer need to be slaughtered, 4 before lunch and 3 before dinner. Although they are not wild Kingine deer, they are still wild and difficult to tame. You two must be careful. Oh. Wei Hong immediately became interested. Can this kind of deer be domesticated? You two don't know yet, do you? The servant whispered, the emperor likes venison, so all the rich and powerful people in the world eat venison the most. How can there be so many venison in the world that can be hunted at will? In fact, most of them are raised by humans. That's right. Wei Hong asked curiously, we are ignorant and don't know where elk are raised. I don't know either. I heard that most of them are transported from Yunzhou. The servant muttered, there have been many immortals in Yunzhou recently. It is rumored that it is a domestication method taught by immortal disciples. Otherwise, how dare ordinary people domesticate such a ferocious creature? Wei Hong didn't ask any more questions after hearing this. There are too many secrets in this world, and immortal disciples are not rare. He had seen a stream of light flying high in the sky in the palace several times. Although he didn't know what it was, he should have guessed that it was a method of immortals. But he was not in a hurry to contact the existence of this level. He was too weak now. Only when he became strong enough could he get the admission ticket to this level. Anyway, in theory, Wei Hong's lifespan could be increased, so he could always live to that day. Let's get started. Wei Hong weighed the butcher knife in his hand and said, deer are not much different from sheep. After bleeding, we just need to skin and cut them up. Let's cooperate. Okay. Li Daniu agreed. After the two of them were ready, they chose the smallest deer. It was about 1 person tall and weighed at least 200 or 300 kilograms. It was several times larger than an ordinary sheep and didn't look particularly easy to mess with. Li Daniu opened the iron cage and just walked in. The elk rushed towards him violently. Damn it! Li Daniu stood firmly and raised his hand to hold the elk's horns, trying to hold it down. But he was pushed out the next moment and hit the iron cage and almost vomited blood. Wei Hong took a step forward quickly, raised his hand to grab the elk's horns and pressed them hard, and only then did he save Li Daniu from under the elk's horns, otherwise he would have been in trouble. Hiss! Li Daniu couldn't help but exclaimed, I have more than 300 kilograms of strength in one arm now, but I can't even hold it down. Without 800 kilograms of strength, forget it. Wei Hong sneered and reminded, it wasn't angry just now. If it hits you in anger, I will have to collect your body later. Fortunately, Li Daniu wiped the cold sweat. I will use the knife, and you can help me later. Wei Hong casually reminded, and his powerful arm strength easily grasped the king-eyed deer. He casually dragged the deer to the table and pressed it down. He raised his hand and cut its throat with a knife. The blood spilled into the wooden barrel like money. Lululu. The deer struggled madly. But Wei Hong was too strong. He was like bullying a little chicken. No matter how hard it struggled, it couldn't shake its iron-like hands. In the end, it could only watch its blood flow away. Ling. Life force plus 154, so many. Wei Hong narrowed his eyes secretly. A deer is comparable to 7 or 8 pigs? It is worthy of the existence of a rare monster bloodline. If he kills a real monster in the future, I don't know how much life force he can earn. He looked around at the other elks and couldn't help but smile. Today was really not in vain. One day's income was comparable to several days. Begin, skin it. Wei Hong waved his hand. Li Daniu came to help. With almost full-level slaughtering skills, Wei Hong did not make any mistakes even though it was his first time to kill a deer. He raised his hand and touched it to roughly know where the bones and joints under the skin and flesh were. The butcher knife was very flexible in his hand. Cutting down one by one, the membrane and bones were easily decomposed. Li Daniu wanted to help several times, but in the end he couldn't find a chance to use the knife. Embarrassed, he could only help on the side. Good craftsmanship. The servants gave a thumbs up. This knife skill is really excellent. Fortunately, 2 butchers were found. Otherwise, if the flesh and bones were wasted a little, I don't know how much loss it would be. Wei Hong nodded in agreement. This kind of elk is indeed a tonic. Every drop of blood exudes a faint fragrance. After taking a drop and tasting it, you will immediately feel a sweetness in your mouth. Not only does it not have the fishy smell of pig blood, but there is also a warmth flowing through the body. If an ordinary person drinks it, he will have a nosebleed on the spot. It's the tonic. Wei Hong couldn't help but sigh. This kind of blood is first class for medicine, wine, raw food, and stewing soup. A deer must be worth at least 1,000 taels. Maybe, the Chang family is rich. Li Daniu chuckled. Chang Mansion. Wei Hong couldn't help but raise his eyes. Through the round archway of the side courtyard, he saw the bustling crowd in the garden at a glance, among which there was Cheng Qingshuang. It turned out that the Chang family was Cheng Qingshuang's family. Wei Hong also saw Kui Yongfu, Xianghao and others in the crowd, and even Zhu Furen was among them. She was dressed up beautifully and was fawning on the young masters and young ladies of wealthy families. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62, The Trapped Sea Dragon is Short-Sighted. Sister Chang, I toast you a glass. Brother Xiang, you have been getting more and more energetic recently. You are not far from breaking through the blood refining, right? In the garden, a group of young masters and young ladies were drinking tea and chatting. Zhu Furen flattered everyone with a smile on her face, constantly trying to find topics, but most of them were just cold eyes, which made her almost cry. If it were in the past, relying on her father Zhu Sihei and her uncle's status and position, Zhu Furen could barely squeeze into this small circle of rich people. But now everyone knows that Zhu Sihei has lost power. Her uncle has also died suddenly. Who will give her face at this time? Zhu Furen tasted such human warmth and coldness for the first time, and her face turned pale. At this time, she noticed a pair of eyes staring at her. She looked up and glanced over. It happened to meet the eyes of Wei Hong, who was looking over, and also saw Li Daniu, who was busy. Huh? Zhu Furen snorted in disgust. Obviously, she didn't want Wei Hong and others to see her embarrassment. What are you talking about? Cheng Qingshuang asked unhappily. Do you think we have neglected you? No, no. Zhu Furen hurriedly explained. Sister Chang, please don't misunderstand me. I just saw the 2 butchers in my butcher shop and was afraid that they would not do a good job. Really? Cheng Qingshuang followed her gaze and laughed. It was Wei Hong. Sister Chang, do you know him? Zhu Furen was a little at a loss. Of course. Cheng Qingshuang said with a slightly relieved expression. Wei Hong often goes to the Iron Fist Martial Arts Hall as a sparring partner. He is talented in his outstanding martial arts. Who doesn't know him here? How come he's a butcher in your butcher shop? Yes. Zhu Furen replied in a low voice. My father recruited him and wanted to recruit him to my house as a son-in-law, but I didn't agree. Son-in-law? You? Cheng Qingshuang was stunned and couldn't help laughing. Xiong Hao, Kui Yongfu and others also laughed. Brother Wei is a man with lofty ambitions, and he is definitely not an ordinary person. Kui Yongfu curled his lips and sneered. He will definitely be able to enter the blood refining realm within 3 to 5 years. He is also a backbone figure and a small force. Sister Qingshuang wanted to recruit him as a son-in-law with a daughter of the Cheng family's side branch, but she didn't agree. How can you be worthy of him? Zhu Furong's face flushed red, and she didn't dare to refute for a long time. At this moment, she couldn't help but think back to a few months ago. Zhu Sihei also said that Wei Hong was definitely not an ordinary person, and he had to be seized in advance. At that time, she didn't look down on a stinky pig killer. In her arrogance, she only felt that only the top scholar could match herself. But now, the situation has changed, and the Zhu family is not as good as before. Wei Hong's talent in martial arts is gradually emerging, and even Cheng Qingshuang and others who she wants to curry favor with are also friendly to him. At this time, Zhu Furong had to admit that her father's vision was vicious, and she had to admit that it was not Wei Hong who was not worthy of her, but that she was not worthy of him. Haha, a small family is just short-sighted. How can they see the trapped sea dragon? Xiong Hao sighed with a smile. Now he is only a teenager. If in another 20 years, I am afraid that even we will have to look up to him. We should not be too short-sighted. Zhu Furong's face was pale and she twisted her handkerchief with her fingers. When she looked at Wei Hong again, her eyes had a little more complexity. Let's go and see Brother Wei. Cheng Qingshuang took the lead and stood up. Xiong Hao, Kui Yongfu and others also stood up and went straight to the side yard. Brother Wei, why is it you? What a coincidence. I said I would invite Brother Wei to come to the banquet tonight, but I didn't expect that the butcher sent you to do the main surgery. A group of rich young masters and young ladies greeted with smiles. The servants who came in and out of the kitchen were all shocked and at a loss. Wei Hong calmly stopped what he was doing and said with a smile, my main job is to be a butcher. It's nothing strange that I was invited to kill deer. I haven't congratulated the old man of the Cheng mansion on his birthday yet. Sorry. What are you talking about? Cheng Qingshuang laughed dumbly and said, it is an honor from my Cheng mansion that you can come. Come on, go to the garden and sit for a while. You must take a seat at the banquet later. No. Wei Hong shook his head and refused. I came here to work today. I can't delay my work. You can eat in the kitchen. You can sit by yourselves. How can that be possible? How can we not entertain guests when they come to our door? Yes, this is not the way to treat guests. Everyone patiently persuaded again. Wei Hong had to promise again and again that he would go to apologize after killing the deer. Near noon, Wei Hong finally killed 3 elks. The flesh, bones, and fur were all cut, and no one could find any fault. He then washed the blood off his hands, and took the somewhat reserved Li Dainu to the garden to sit down, toasting with Cheng Qingshuang and others without any fear, and his demeanor was no less than that of a nobleman, attracting the attention of many noble ladies. After a while of chatting, Kui Yongfu couldn't help but start a conversation. Brother Xiong has been in the process of skin refining for a few months, and it's almost time to prepare for blood refining, right? Blood refining. Wei Hong immediately became interested. Others also looked at Xiong Hao. How can it be so easy? Xiong Hao shook his head dejectedly and said with a wry smile, only after the skin refining is complete and the blood is abundant can the blood be refined. I have just stepped into the perfection for more than 2 months. It will take at least half a year to reach the point where the blood is abundant and there is no room for improvement. But it is still possible to prepare in advance. I am ignorant. Wei Hong couldn't help asking, I wonder what should I prepare for blood refining? Beast blood pill. Xiong Hao answered concisely, this is a pill made from the essence and blood of mountain spirits and beasts. It can continuously strengthen the human body's blood and refine the power of blood, allowing the warrior's strength to continuously transform. Each pill is priceless. If it is a powerful family, then there is no need to worry, as there is an endless supply of beast blood pills to devour. But our wealthy family has to search everywhere. If we can't find a good beast blood pill, we even have to organize people to go into the mountains to hunt. It is really not an easy task. Even a most common beast blood pill costs 100 taels of silver. If you want to complete the practice of the blood refining realm, You must take a pill every 3 to 5 days, right? How much money can you make in 7 or 8 years? This. Wei Hong was stunned when he heard this. The blood refining realm actually needs to swallow a large amount of beast blood pills? Even with the family financial resources of Xiang Hao, Cheng Qingshuang and others, it is impossible to collect them on a large scale. Doesn't this prove that beast blood pills are precious and monopolized martial arts resource? No wonder there are thousands of skin refining warriors in the world. But once you step into the blood refining realm, it is enough to support the lintel of a small force. It turns out that taking this step not only represents aptitude, it also represents endless resources. Thinking of this, Wei Hong couldn't help but feel a little melancholy. In the skin refining realm, he can still become stronger by being ruthless to himself. Will it be okay when he reaches the blood refining realm? He doesn't even have the skills for the blood refining realm, so where can the beast blood pills come from? Brother Wei, you haven't seen the beast blood pill yet, right? Xiang Hao suddenly said with a smile, the black market in the city will be open tonight, do you want to join in the fun? Black market? Okay. Wei Hong was stunned and nodded in agreement. Chapter 63, The Black Market Street is a mixed bag. There are actually quite a few black markets in Anlafang that are not visible to the public. Wei Hong naturally knew where the black market street Xiang Hao was referring to. This place is located on an inconspicuous street on the edge of the slums. There are remote old houses on both sides. It is usually deserted and dead silent. But at night, it will become very lively here. All kinds of thieves, desperate people, escorts, scoundrels, and all kinds of unconventional merchants will gather here to sell all kinds of contraband. It is rumored that robberies and murders will happen here every night, and ordinary people dare not come here to join in the fun. Wei Hong used to be too weak to approach. Now Xiang Hao asked him to go for a walk, so he was naturally interested in going there. After being busy in Cheng Mansion during the day and drinking a lot at the banquet, Cheng Qingshuang, Xiang Hao, Wei Hong and others took several carriages and went straight to the black market street after nightfall. These young masters and young ladies have come to this kind of place many times. There are also a bunch of guards following behind the carriages, which shows that they are also afraid of being targeted. The moonlight was sparse at night, and red lanterns were hung on both sides of the black market street. Both sides of the street were filled with men, women, and children setting up stalls. There were both sturdy-looking strong men and women wearing masks. There were also beautiful women and white-haired old women. People either negotiated in a low voice or strolled silently. The street was crowded but very quiet. Brother Wei, don't get into conflicts with others here. Xiang Hao reminded in a low voice, I have seen many ignorant people who came in alive and kicking and were eventually carried out. I heard that the black market street is not only protected by major gangs, but also by the current Prince Duan's mansion. Kui Yongfu also introduced in a low voice, in short, you must make a deal here, don't make noise, and don't fight in public, otherwise no one can protect you, understand? Yes. Wei Hong nodded and said nothing more. He has never been a person who likes to make trouble, so these rules have no effect on him. The crowd got off the bus at the street entrance and followed the crowd into the black market. There were quite a few young men like them around, so they didn't attract much attention. The stalls on both sides of the street sold swords, martial arts secrets, skin refining secrets, and medicine for injuries. There were also stalls selling poison powder and poison, intelligence secrets, and boys and girls. Even some military crossbows, armor and other contraband were sold. It can be said that as long as you have money, you can buy anything here, even hiring a killer. For a moment, Wei Hong couldn't help but be dazzled. He looked around and asked Kui Yongfu, Brother Kui, are all the things here real? Of course not all of them are real. In fact, there are quite a few fakes. Kui Yongfu chuckled and said, take the secret manuals of martial arts as an example. The secrets sold here are all kinds of things. Some people have bought ancient copies here, and some people have been deceived and become obsessed. Various incomplete handwritten copies can only be identified by eyesight. Most people don't dare to buy them. It's interesting. Wei Hong couldn't help but become interested. He has an attribute version that can include various skills. He can tell whether the martial arts is real or fake at a glance. He can consider picking up bargains when he has time. But it is limited to martial arts secrets. He dare not buy other things randomly, after all, his eyesight is average. And he only has a few thousand taels of silver on hand, and he can't buy anything good here. If you want to buy something, be sure to look at a few more stores before you make a purchase. Xiang Hao reminded at this time, we are here mainly to buy beast blood pills and gamble on iron. This is your first time here, so just take a look and don't rush to buy. Okay. Wei Hong asked casually, where can the beast blood pills be sold? Can they be guaranteed to be authentic? What does gamble on iron mean? Beast blood pills are sold by the only few stores on Black Market Street. Each of them has a deep background and absolutely guarantees the authenticity of the pills. There is no need to worry about buying fakes. Xiang Hao continued, as for gamble on iron, it is similar to gamble on stones. Various rare metals such as black iron, black gold, and glass gold are all good materials for forging magic weapons. Most of these rare metals are mixed with ordinary minerals such as iron and copper. It is difficult to distinguish them without special refining techniques. Therefore, a business similar to gamble on stones has emerged in the black market. A pile of unrefined iron ore is piled together for others to choose. If you have a good eye, you can naturally buy good goods. If you don't have a good eye, you can't blame others. It's fun to come here to play occasionally. Everyone walked along. Listening to the introductions of the people around him, Wei Hong probably had a general impression of the Black Market Street. This is a semi-legal chaotic place, with a lot of good things hidden under the mix of good and bad people, just like a thorny but beautiful rose. No wonder it can attract so many people. Cheng Qingshuang and others wandered around for a while. Finally, they went straight to the 4 shops at the end of the Black Market Street. They were the only shops opened on the entire street, and they were particularly conspicuous among the stalls. At this moment, they were already crowded with people. Today, the market price of beast blood pill is 1,300 taels per bottle, not sold individually. Don't squeeze, line up, each person is limited to 1 bottle, while stocks last. There were 2 servants in front of each of the 4 shops to maintain order. Cheng Qingshuang and others glanced at the price and immediately waved their hands to let their followers line up to buy. Wei Hong was not in a hurry to buy when he came here for the first time. He just curiously watched one warrior after another spend real money to buy small jade bottles from the store. The jade bottle contained a number of blood red pills the size of longan. When a warrior poured out the pills to verify their authenticity, people around could always smell an alluring fragrance. This is the beast blood pill. Xiang Hao said casually, there are 10 pills in a bottle. 4 shops sell them every 3 days. It's hard to buy them if you don't hurry up. Did they say that 1 pill costs 100 taels? Wei Hong asked back. Things on the black market are bound to have some premium. Xiang Hao chuckled and said, the 4 major shops are honestly charging 30% premium. Some people can make another 20% by reselling them. You should know that beast blood pills are not so easy to refine. Many big families need to send out a large number of hunting teams to meet their own needs. We are lucky to be able to buy some from others. Although I haven't started refining blood yet, I have to go to the black market every few days. If I have enough money, I can buy some beast blood pills and save them. It will be convenient to use them in the future. Wei Hong nodded in understanding. Suddenly, an idea popped up in his mind. Do I need the beast blood pill when I refine blood? This pill should have the effect of replenishing ki and blood and purifying ki and blood. To replenish ki and blood, you can use vitality to add some, but what about purifying ki and blood? Brother Xiang, can I buy the recipe of the beast blood pill? Wei Hong suddenly asked. Yes. Xiang Hao said with a strange look on his face, you don't want to refine the pill yourself, do you? There are indeed many people who have this idea. The recipe can also be bought on the black market, and the difficulty of refining is not high. However, it is very troublesome to go hunting in the deep mountains and old forests alone, and to collect many rare herbs. I advise you not to have wild ideas. I understand, don't worry. Wei Hong smiled, but his eyes showed a heartbeat. Chapter 64, Looking for a Needle in a Haystack, Purchasing a Technique. After a fight, Xiang Hao, Cheng Qingshuang and others each bought 1 or 2 bottles of beast blood pill. Seeing the pills in hand, everyone's face was filled with joy. Brother Wei, do you want a bottle? Kui Yongfu said with a smile, my followers queued up to buy 2 bottles, how about giving you 1? Brother Kui, you're welcome. Wei Hong quickly refused, now I'm only in the middle stage of the skin refining realm, it's useless to buy beast blood pills so early, let's come back later. Okay. Kui Yongfu nodded. Everyone walked along the long street and came to a small alley. There were dozens of stalls of different sizes, each of which displayed a large number of strange iron blocks, some of which were black and some of which emitted a faint silver light. They were all unrefined minerals. "This is the stall for gambling on iron," Xiong Hao explained casually. "The stall owners buy these minerals from the mines and transport them here. After the buyers negotiate the price, they directly smelt them. It is clear whether they make a profit or a loss." Wei Hong glanced around and found that this place was indeed a bit similar to gambling on stones. He did not have the ability to distinguish the true from the false, so he naturally declined the offer. "You guys play?" Wei Hong pulled the corner of his mouth and said, "I just want to watch the excitement." "Okay." Xiong Hao nodded, squatted in front of a stall and began to select minerals. The middle-aged stall owner introduced cheerfully, "Ladies and gentlemen, take a look and choose whatever you want. All the minerals in this stall are transported from the big mines in Kangshao. Someone has opened a lot of good things in my stall. The small ones are 180 taels, the big ones are 500 taels. Just pick whatever you want, buy them and you can smelt them. This one, and this one." Xiong Hao selected 3 minerals of different sizes and paid the silver bills. The middle-aged stall owner quickly asked his assistant to throw the ore into the small smelting furnace beside him. The bellows were pumping, and the flames in the furnace were blazing. After a while, the first piece of ore weighing dozens of kilograms was melted into a pool of molten iron. "Hey, look at this molten iron with some gold. Is there black gold in it?" "Bullshit, what if it's copper?" People around were talking about it. The middle-aged stall owner smelted the ore into molten iron with ease, and then poured the molten iron into clean water. Sizzle. After a burst of white smoke, the molten iron quickly cooled into an iron block. With just this step, most of the impurities in it have been removed. At this moment, the iron block is dark silver, which is no different from the pig iron commonly used in the blacksmith shop. Then, the middle-aged stall owner continued to smelt. This time, the temperature was controlled to increase continuously, and the iron block gradually began to melt again. When the iron block melted into a pool of molten iron again, a small pile of unmelted metal appeared in front of him. The middle-aged stall owner gathered them together and couldn't help laughing. "Oh, you are lucky. It is really black gold, but it's a pity that there is not enough." After that, the guy increased the flame to melt the black gold. Then he threw it into the water to cool it into a whole piece of metal. Finally, he waited and said, 16 jin 5 liang of pig iron, 1 liang 7 jin of black gold. Not bad. Xiong Hao smiled with satisfaction. 1 liang of black gold is worth nearly 100 liang. Although 1 liang 7 jin is not profitable, it is not a loss after all. Interesting. Wei Hong also curled his lips with interest. He found that the smelting technology in this world is very mature. They know that various metals have different melting points, and they also know how to add catalysts such as carbon ash to make the metal react. Although the way is a bit wild, the result is always the same. There are many rare metals such as black iron, black gold, mithril, and ryukin. Each one is priceless, and once shipped, it will always attract cheers and praises from everyone. Wei Hong, do you want to play? Cheng Qingshuang said with a smile, go and pick a few pieces. If you lose the bet, it's my fault. No need. I'm not very interested in these. Wei Hong waved his hand indifferently. Do you want to go to the martial arts stalls? Cheng Qingshuang was very smart and saw his intention at once. Wei Hong nodded without denying it. Seeing that others were still picking and choosing, he simply said, how about this, I'll go to the martial arts stalls first, you guys continue to play, and we'll meet at the street corner later. Okay. Cheng Qingshuang didn't say much, just watched him turn around and leave. Wei Hong walked out of the alley and returned to the black market street, and really went straight to the martial arts stalls. After all, except for the martial arts that attracted him, other things here were not very useful to him for the time being, and there was really no need to waste time. There were about a dozen martial arts stalls on the black market street. Most of them were very deserted, and basically no one patronized them. Wei Hong observed for a while and found that one of the stalls had the best business. The stall owner was a woman in green wearing a bamboo hat, whose face and appearance could not be seen clearly. There were hundreds of handwritten secret books on the stall. These secret books were scattered on the stall. From miscellaneous books to martial arts notes, from skin refining to blood refining. The woman in green sat aside with a book in her hand, and did not care about passers-by flipping through the books. Unknowingly, she made several deals. Wei Hong squatted in front of the stall and flipped through a few books casually. He found that these handwritten books had beautiful fonts and clear pictures, which were neater than ordinary printed books. No wonder the business was better than that of other stalls. I am now in the late stage of skin refining. I can impact the blood refining realm in less than half a year. I can learn about the blood refining technique first. Wei Hong carefully analyzed his current situation. He probably guessed that it would not be easy to get the blood refining technique. He either joined the Tiger Head gang or joined a martial arts hall, otherwise it would be difficult to find the blood refining technique. Although there are many blood refining techniques on display in the black market, as Kui Yongfu said, most of them are difficult to distinguish between the real and the fake. Even if there are real ones, most of them are incomplete. Trying to find treasures in a garbage dump is no less than looking for a needle in a haystack. Wei Hong first chose the stall with the best business, and first eliminated most of the scammers. After all, it is impossible to do well in the black market without a good reputation. Then he kept looking through the pile of books. Every few breaths, his eyes would pause. With the powerful collection function of the system panel, Wei Hong easily found the real version of the blood refining realm from the pile of books. The upper grade yellow level True Blood Sutra, the middle grade yellow level Blood Evil Skill, and the middle grade Mysterious Snake Blood Refining Skill? It's a pity that they are incomplete. Huh? There are also disguise techniques? And hidden weapons and body skills. Wei Hong kept looking around as if he had picked up a treasure. The woman in green could not help but raise her head. She said in a hoarse voice with a warning, "Customers better not rummage around. You can leave if you don't want to buy." "Buy? Of course you shouldn't buy." Wei Hong asked in return, "What's the price?" 30 taels for an incomplete handwritten copy of the exercises, 120 taels for a complete handwritten copy of the exercises. The woman in green quoted the price skillfully. Miscellaneous books and cultivation notes are all 10 taels each. In addition, no returns or exchanges are allowed once the sales are completed, and no authenticity is guaranteed after payment and delivery. So expensive. Wei Hong clicked his tongue secretly, but still gritted his teeth and started making large purchases. All of these. Please vote and read on. Chapter 65, Top Grade Zhuan Level, Demonic Ape Blood Refining Sutra. After a while of picking and choosing, Wei Hong selected a total of 30 or 40 books, and directly waved his hand to buy them all. "Are you really not joking?" The green-clothed woman was also a little shocked at this moment. Obviously, she had never seen such a crazy person who bought so many secret books at once. "Of course I'm not joking." Wei Hong directly took out a stack of silver notes and said, "I lack martial arts inheritance, so I want to buy a few more books to study at home." The green-clothed woman was speechless. But she didn't say much, and directly gave him a discount. "Your Excellency has selected 23 incomplete blood refining inheritances, 7 complete blood refining inheritances, 6 miscellaneous books, and 1 book of disguise. How about this? Just give 1,500 taels." The green-clothed woman was in a good mood and directly found a cloth bag to put the books in. "Thank you." Wei Hong paid the silver note with satisfaction. "Do you have the recipe for the beast blood pill?" "Yes." The green-clothed woman smiled sweetly. "There is no shortage of bold people in this world who want to refine the beast blood pill by themselves. Here. I'll give you one." After that, she threw out a thin booklet. At this point, the transaction between the two was officially completed. "Brother, do you like to collect martial arts? I have it here. Come and take a look. I have a lot of blood refining skills here. I will definitely not let you down." The eyes of the other book vendors all lit up. One by one, as if they had met a sucker, they hurriedly invited him to come over and take a look. Wei Hong did not refuse, and swaggered from stall to stall. Whenever he came across a secret book that the system could include, he would take it on the spot. Anyway, they were all handwritten copies. Regardless of whether the inheritance was complete, it was always of reference value. What he lacked most now was the martial arts inheritance and knowledge background. These things that could be bought with money were worth it to Wei Hong. As for the book vendors, they were also happy to make a lot of money. After all, copying the secret book only took a little time and effort, and it was almost a business without capital. Who wouldn't be envious of making hundreds or thousands of taels at once? This happy shopping lasted for half an hour. When Wei Hong, carrying a large bag of books, walked to the black market street corner in the eyes of everyone who looked at him as if he was a fool, Cheng Qingshuang and others had just finished their work. "Brother Wei, what did you buy? Why so many?" "No way, all secret books." Cheng Qingshuang and others took a breath of cold air. They all looked like they had seen a ghost, and obviously didn't understand why he did this. Wei is ignorant. "It's always good to read more martial arts books," Wei Hong said casually, "and these are not worth much. Buy them home and put them up." "Follow you, let's go back first." Yes, let's go shopping another day." Everyone didn't say anything more, and got on the carriage to go back. At night, Wei Hong returned home alone with a large bag of books. After sending away the curious Chuju and others, he went into his room and piled the secret books on the desk. This time, he spent a total of 3,600 taels of silver and got 128 secret books. Most of them were secret books of the blood refining realm, with complete and incomplete inheritances, but most of the complete inheritances were yellow-level common goods. As for the incomplete inheritances, there were Zhuan-level skills, but unfortunately they were all seriously damaged. In the martial arts, one method leads to all methods. Outsiders would only ridicule him for buying so many skills. But they didn't know that Wei Hong also had his own considerations. First of all, these skills are all real, and he only needs to choose one that suits him best, and then absorb the essence of other skills. When the skills are pushed to the limit and can be controlled freely, it is easy to create a skill that suits him best. There are so many, which one should I choose? Wei Hong frowned in distress. But soon the problem became easy to solve. Because he was surprised to find that similar skills would merge and cover each other. Take the elementary disguise technique as an example. This is a useless skill he obtained when he used herbs to change his skin color. However, after the system collected several disguise skills, it disappeared. Only the strongest one of the last few similar disguise skills remained, the 1,000 faces and 10,000 images technique. This is a very profound and unconventional skill. Although it can be bought everywhere on the black market, it is not easy to practice. Legend has it that once you practice it, you can freely change your membrane, bones, appearance, and even control your voice to disguise your temperament, and easily turn yourself into another person. This is something that the elementary disguise technique cannot compare to. That is to say, if I collect all the blood refining skills, the strongest one will be left in the end. Wei Hong was surprised. Sure enough. Soon, many skills on the attribute board kept disappearing. After a while, there was only one blood refining skill left on it, the Demon Ape Blood Refining True Scriptures 1 level upper grade remnant. Zhuan level upper grade. Wei Hong secretly smacked his lips. He found that this skill was quite extraordinary. The opening chapter says that one must absorb the essence and blood of monkeys from all over the world to strengthen himself. After mastering it, he not only possesses the extreme speed of monkeys, but also has infinite strength. He has his own boxing and body skills, and his explosive power, endurance, and combat effectiveness are far superior to ordinary skills. However, it is not without shortcomings. First of all, the skills are incomplete. Although there are many references to the fusion of blood refining skills, it is only after Wei Hong has pushed it to the limit that he can fully understand the remaining skills. Secondly, it cannot become stronger by swallowing ordinary beast blood pills. It is necessary to kill monkey creatures and use their essence and blood to refine beast blood pills and swallow them. At the end of the secret book, there is also a method for refining monkey beast blood pills. Wei Hong found the ordinary beast blood pill refining method he bought from the pile of books and found that except for the different essence and blood, the other processes and materials are almost the same. In this way, Wei Hong has natural limitations in practicing the skill. Others have to spend money and queue up to buy ordinary beast blood pills, but he has to be picky. Where in the world can there be so many monkeys for him to suck blood from? If it were someone else, they would have to give up this technique immediately. However, Wei Hong thought about it and didn't care too much. After all, he never expected to become stronger with beast blood pills. Vitality is the best way for him to replenish his blood. It's a pity that I can't practice the blood refining realm technique now. Wei Hong regretted and gathered his mind, and began to sort out his gains today. Many secret books were finally summarized into 2 real skills, plus a few miscellaneous books. In addition, there are some scattered incomplete boxing, body skills, and sword skills. They are all martial arts that can only be practiced in the blood refining realm. For the time being, Wei Hong can only put them aside. Only one of the miscellaneous books interested him. The Principles of 100 Herbs. It's interesting. Wei Hong held the book in his hand and studied hard at night with the help of an oil lamp. He hoped to find the secret of refining beast blood pills from it. He knew clearly that only by understanding the method of refining this kind of elixir could his practice in the blood refining realm be completely unimpeded, so he worked extra hard in studying it. Chapter 66, Go to the countryside to collect pigs and set up a new business? The following days were peaceful and fulfilling. Wei Hong went to work every day, practiced martial arts and refined his skin, occasionally studied 100 herbs and pharmacy, or went to a few close friends to drink tea and listen to music. His life was very comfortable. As for his huge meat shop, there have been many changes. Since the second-in-command Tan Fei took over the control of the meat shop, Zhu Sihei and the third-in-command Zhao Mingji have been sick and have not appeared again. Some people say that they want to set up a new business. Others say that they have found a new backer. Wei Hong was too lazy to pay attention to this, and just buried his head in work every day. Tan Fei was a serious person. After he came to power, he neither suppressed anyone nor retaliated against the knifemen of the big-in-command faction. He just made some adjustments to the daily work. Now Wei Hong and others have to slaughter pigs and sheep before dawn every day. After breakfast, they have to follow Tan Fei to collect pigs outside the city, and the workload has increased a lot. Early in the morning, Tan Fei personally led the team out of the city. Wei Hong, Li Daniu and more than 10 other people each pushed a wheelbarrow, lined up in a long line, and walked on the muddy and winding mountain road. Damn it! Li Daniu couldn't help but complain in a low voice, we are not responsible for collecting pigs on weekdays. Now we have to work outside in the wind, sun and rain every day. Several pairs of shoes have been worn out. Even the time for practicing martial arts has been reduced a lot. It's really unlucky. The second-in-command has just taken power. How dare he leave us in the shop? Naturally, he has to bring us out and keep an eye on us personally. The meat sellers who stay in the shop are all trusted by him. Wei Hong laughed dumbly and didn't complain too much. He is a man who can endure hardships. Moreover, his martial arts strength is increasing day by day, so walking on some mountain roads is not tiring. It's okay to be a little tired. Li Daniu couldn't help but murmured, it's just that running around outside is a little unsafe after all. Who knows what ghosts you will encounter? Wei Hong understood what he meant. What he was worried about was nothing more than some dangers such as mountain bandits, weirdness, and wild beasts. These days, soldiers and bandits are rampant and chaos is frequent. After all, there is no safety in the city. Don't think too much. Wei Hong comforted indifferently, pigs are only collected within a few dozen miles of Shendu. What mountain bandits dare to run wild here? Erdentao has been running around all year round and nothing has happened. Our situation is much better than the turbulent places in other states. Be content. That's right. Li Daniu still couldn't help complaining, but Erdentao is also a fool. He can just go to the water and land docks to find the boat gang to buy pigs. Why go to the mountain villages to collect pigs? The boat gang transports pigs from other states all the way, and the price is naturally much more expensive. How can it be more cost-effective to collect pigs by yourself? Wei Hong chatted casually. But there was no resistance in his heart. It's good to go out for a walk every day, which is better than being bored in the city all day. After a hard climb, everyone finally arrived at the first destination along the rugged mountain road. This is a village hidden deep in the mountains. A stream flows down from the mountains. There are hundreds of yellow mud and thatched houses built on the hillsides on both sides. Many farmers are working in the fields at the foot of the mountain. There are also children laughing and playing on the village roads. If you ignore the pale and thin appearance of these villagers, I am afraid Wei Hong will really praise it as a paradise. Hey! As soon as everyone entered the village, a goat-bearded old man in sackcloth clothes came up to them, and said with a happy face, Tan Dang Tao, I haven't seen you for a while. Come on, come in and have some tea first. No need. Tan Fei waved his hand and said, we have to go to other villages later. Your Hanjia village is just the first stop. Please hurry up, village chief. Hey, okay. The old man in sackcloth clothes hurriedly called around, you filthy guys have heard it, right? Who has pigs to sell? Hurry up and take Tan Dang Tao to have a look, so as not to waste your time. Tan Dang Tao, please go to my house first. My pigs are fat. Let's go to my house first. My pigs have been raised for half a year. Seeing this, the villagers all gathered around. Each one of them was full of flattery and expectation. In this era of backward productivity, livestock raised with leftovers and pig grass can be said to be the biggest source of income for farmers. Farmers are reluctant to eat them at home, so they naturally hope to sell them for a good price. Tampei walked around the pig pens of each family with ease. While negotiating prices with the villagers, he asked people to start loading pigs. Wei Hong took a bamboo pig cage from the wheelbarrow, endured the stench and walked into the pig pen. With the cooperation of Li Daniu, he quickly loaded a pig into the cage. The villagers brought out a scale and weighed it again and again before deciding the weight. 147 caddies, 18 coins per caddy, total price 2 taels 6 coins 46 coins. Tampei said without raising his head, "Ergos, get the money." "Thank you, Mr. Tan." A farmer immediately stepped forward with a smile on his face. Seeing this, Wei Hong couldn't help but silently calculate the account in his mind. The pork slaughtered in the butcher shop is sold by part, and the price of meat is about 38 to 43 coins per caddy. But the live pigs in the village can only be sold for around 18 wen, which is more than double the price. No wonder Tan Fei came all the way here to buy pigs. A pig was raised for more than half a year and only sold for more than 2 taels. The farmers' lives are probably not easy. It is not popular to raise castrated pigs in this world. If they are castrated before raising, the smell of pork will be much less, and a pig can weigh 300 or 400 kilograms. Wei Hong suddenly had an idea. Should he raise pigs for profit? With the information gap of castration, if he wants to raise pigs for money, he will definitely make a lot of money. But after thinking about it seriously, he smiled and extinguished this unrealistic idea. He is not short of money now. He doesn't have enough time to practice martial arts and kill pigs every day. How can he have time to get involved in the business of raising pigs? Once he starts raising pigs, the secret of castration will be impossible to keep. What can Wei Hong use to form a monopoly? So he is too lazy to think about such a thankless job that doesn't make much money. Wait for him to enter the blood refining realm in a few months. A lot of small forces are willing to ask him to be affiliated with them, and the money is automatically delivered to his door. Why bother? Thinking of this, Wei Hong gathered his mind and continued to weigh the pigs and load them onto the truck. It is good to familiarize himself with the process now. After all, if he sets up his own business in a few years, he may have to come out to collect pigs himself. Yes. Wei Hong's eyes suddenly lit up, and he patted his forehead in annoyance. How can you make more money by slaughtering pigs for others than by yourself? If he sets up his own business, he can not only take care of all the pigs and sheep in the butcher shop, but also earn a lot of money. Why not do it? At that time, he can completely recruit a group of knifemen and implement the assembly line slaughtering mode. He is responsible for bleeding, and his subordinates are responsible for cutting and cutting meat. Killing dozens of pigs a day is like playing, and the profit is at least 7 or 8 times more. Isn't it wonderful? But opening a butcher shop is not simple. There are many things involved, and it takes a long time to plan. Wei Hong murmured in his heart, asking for monthly tickets, recommendation tickets, and rewards. Chapter 67 Black Armored Army, Assassination in the Mountains. After running for half a day, Wei Hong and his team rushed to 3 villages non-stop, and finally filled the caravan. More than 10 wheelbarrows were loaded with 3 or 4 fat pigs each, and 4 or 5 mountain people were hired behind the caravan to help drive dozens of goats. Walk faster, we will eat some dry food to fill our stomachs after we pass the call in front. These pigs and sheep have not been fed, we must rush back to the butcher shop in the afternoon, hurry up. Tampei shouted and patrolled with sharp eyes. Everyone dared not neglect it, and gritted their teeth and continued to move forward. A cart of pigs weighed hundreds of pounds, and the mountain road was muddy and bumpy. Even though the knifemen were martial artists with hundreds of pounds of arm strength, they couldn't help but pant and sigh at this moment. Among them, Li Daniu was the most strenuous. After all, compared with other veteran knifemen, he was the weakest and had the smallest arm strength, and he didn't have much experience in pushing carts, so his face was a little pale from tiredness. Daniu, stop for a moment. Seeing this, Wei Hong hurriedly said, please put another pig on my cart. I still have some spare capacity. No, no. Li Daniu blushed and said, how can I let you do my job? Besides, you already have one more pig than me. Don't talk nonsense, hurry up. Wei Hong stopped the wheelbarrow without allowing any refusal. He directly threw a pig in its cage onto his cart and tied it up. Then he pushed the cart easily and motioned him to follow the convoy. At this point, there were only 2 pigs left on Li Daniu's cart. And there were 5 pig cages piled on Wei Hong's cart. He held the handlebars tightly with both hands like iron pliers, and the wheels creaked under the weight of hundreds of pounds, as if they would fall apart at any time, but he was as still as a mountain, and his body did not shake at all. Damn, this monster, how can he be so strong? Something's wrong, isn't he only in the middle stage of skin refining? I'm not as strong as him even in the late stage of skin refining. Bah. Comparing yourself to others makes you angry, damn bad luck. The swordsman cursed in a low voice, their faces full of envy and dissatisfaction. Even Tan Fei couldn't help but look at him a few more times in surprise. Wei Hong turned a deaf ear to this, so he didn't bother to pay attention to other people. He didn't even want to pay attention to Tan Fei. Showing some strength is to tell them that he is not easy to mess with, and don't rush to cause trouble for no reason. The convoy moved forward in this weird atmosphere. After passing a call and approaching the official road, Tan Fei finally raised his hand to signal to stop. Take a break and eat some dry food. Tan Fei made arrangements. After getting off the official road, we can go back to the city in another 10 miles. Everyone should work harder. Huh? Finally I can rest, I'm so tired. My legs are about to break, drink a sip of water first. Everyone sighed and wiped the sweat. Li Daniu parked the wheelbarrow and awkwardly handed over the cowhide water bottle. Brother Hong, drink some water. Li Daniu smiled and said, I'm really sorry that I need your help for the first time I come out to collect pigs. Let's not talk about that. Wei Hong waved his hand indifferently and joked, it's just a little effort. Do you think I'm tired? You are really a monster. Li Daniu couldn't help but smile bitterly. You know, it was he who taught Wei Hong to practice the 13 tiger movements. Now his arm strength is only 300 or 400 pounds, and Wei Hong is already unfathomable. This gap is really exaggerated. Eat some dry food and rest for a while. Wei Hong reminded, we still have to walk 10 miles later. It will be more comfortable to walk on the official road later. Li Daniu muttered while breaking open the pancake and started to eat. The environment for collecting pigs outside is harsh, and a stack of pancakes is everyone's lunch. Wei Hong didn't dislike it, and took 2 and started to eat. But after eating a few bites, he saw a team of carriages coming from afar on the official road below. This carriage was luxurious and majestic, pulled by 6 armored horses with the blood of demon beasts, and guarded by dozens of black armored cavalrymen in front and behind. It was a grand display. There were many powerful and noble people in the capital, but few of them were so grand. For a moment, the eyes of others were attracted. What is this? The Black Armored Army? No, isn't the Black Armored Army defending against barbarians at the border? How come they are here? What do you know? These are the elite of the Black Armored Army, that is, the guards around General Meng. Is General Meng preparing to be called to the battle? Everyone was surprised and talked about it. Wei Hong also roughly understood the owner of the pair of carriages. The Meng family was one of the 5 top families in the Great Zhou dynasty. Their disciples were spread all over the prefectures, and their power was so complicated that it was terrifying. Meng Biao, the 17th generation descendant of the Meng family, was even more outstanding among the powerful and noble. He had an amazing talent for martial arts since he was a child. He entered the bone refining realm at the age of 16, and the organ refining realm at the age of 18. He was already a strong man in the innate realm before he was 25 years old. He fought in all directions and made great achievements in his life. The 100,000 black armored soldiers under his command were the elite of the Great Zhou. Now he is over 40 years old. Not only is he highly respected in the army, but he is also well known in the court and the public. He is called the God of War. However, in order to avoid the emperor's fear in the past few years, Meng Biao deliberately claimed to be sick and stayed at Crouching Tiger Villa, 100 miles away from the capital. Now his carriage appears here. Needless to say, it should be known that the court is preparing to send him to quell the rebellion. I heard that the rebellion of the princes in various places is getting worse and worse, and the court can't sit still anymore. Wang Dazi couldn't help but speak up. The prince strongly recommended General Meng to go to the battlefield to quell the rebellion. Meng Biao declined several times because of his old injury. I'm afraid he can't refuse this time. Quelling the rebellion is good. I heard that soldiers and bandits are rampant in Kangzhou, Xuzhou and other places, and the people are displaced and miserable. It's really pitiful. Yes, the Great Zhou dynasty has become more and more turbulent in recent years. Isn't this a sign of the country's demise? Who knows? The demise of the country has nothing to do with us. Everyone chatted with each other. Wei Hong stared at the black-armored cavalry with a burning gaze. These cavalrymen were tall and strong, and both the people and the horses were wearing heavy armor. From a distance, there was a terrifying aura and evil spirit sweeping over, giving people an amazing sense of oppression. It is hard to imagine what it would be like if such a terrible army charged on the battlefield as a whole. I'm afraid even the mountains could be flattened. Maybe Wei Hong's eyes were too hot. Perhaps the black-armored army was too vigilant. Even though they were half a mountain away, their sights had already swept over, scaring Li Daniu and the others so much that their faces turned pale, and even Wei Hong seemed to be struck by lightning. Cry. A falcon made a long cry in the sky. The black-armored army slowly withdrew their sight. Apparently, they also judged that Wei Hong and the others were not a threat, and they were too lazy to look at them anymore. But just as the convoy was about to leave the mountains, a dense rain of arrows accompanied by shouts of killing suddenly sounded. Kill, kill, kill. Puff, puff, puff. A large number of assassins in black clothes and masks, holding crossbows and swords, rushed out of the forest. They directly surrounded the carriage of Meng Biao, which was protected by the black-armored army. A sudden assassination broke out. Chapter 68, Controlling the Key and Floating in the Air, the Innate Realm. Oh no. Something happened. Someone is trying to assassinate General Meng. What should we do? Damn, is the assassin hiding in the forest? Everyone took a breath of cold air and felt a chill on their backs. Even Wei Hong couldn't help but change his expression suddenly and look solemn, because no one expected that there would be an assassination against Meng Biao in a place so close to the capital. The situation in the Great Zhou is turbulent now, and assassinations are prevalent. Many powerful people are fighting each other openly and secretly. This kind of thing originally had nothing to do with Wei Hong and others, but they were unlucky to accidentally bump into this matter. If they didn't stop to rest, they would have run into the assassin today. And the assassins will definitely erase the surrounding traces after they have accomplished their mission. Will they be able to survive by then? Second in command, let's go. Wang Dazi said in fear, this kind of thing is not something we can get involved in. If we don't run away, we will be affected and none of us will survive. Yes, run away. What bad luck, how did we encounter such a thing? Everyone was panicked and terrified. Tanfei's face kept changing, and his eyes stared at the bottom without reacting. After a long time, he sighed and said helplessly, escape? Where to escape? How far can we run with so many pigs and sheep? Everyone was silent again after hearing this. Now they are in the mountain road, and they can only run up the mountain. Even if they leave the pigs and sheep and run into the mountain, they can't run away. Wait. Tanfei said in a deep voice, if the Black Armor Army wins, we will be safe, and General Meng will definitely not be angry with us. If the killer wins, we will abandon the goods and flee into the mountains. At that time, life and death will depend on God's will. Wei Hong raised his eyebrows slightly and had to pray secretly. Tanfei's judgment is still very accurate. For those innocent people who were implicated, escaping or not actually meant little. It just depended on who could win. The life of the weak was never a life. Life and death were not controlled by oneself. It was really sad. The falcon has already flown back to report the news. Wei Hong looked up at the sky and said coldly, this place is only 10 miles away from the capital of the gods. It will only take 2 cups of tea if we ride fast. Plus the time to mobilize the troops. Reinforcements will arrive within an incense stick. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. If reinforcements arrived within an incense stick, this assassination would not be easy to succeed. The fight on the official road continued. Hundreds of black-armored soldiers calmly protected the carriage frame, and at the same time, they sent people to fight the killers in close combat. Puff puff puff. The iron spears and swords in their hands were like the sickles of the god of death. They easily harvested the lives of killers one after another. The official road was suddenly filled with blood and a large number of corpses fell. However, the assassins were well prepared. Crossbows and strongbows kept shooting out of the forest. Gradually, casualties also occurred in the black-armored army. Both sides were anxious for a while. After a while, 8 bald strong men suddenly appeared in the forest. They were all shirtless and holding iron chain meteor hammers. Their fat bodies were like hills. When they walked, even the ground was shaking. Die? The bald strong men swung the iron chain meteor hammers with a grim smile, and blasted the approaching black-armored army away with a raised hand. The meteor hammers made a whirring sound when they were swung, and the terrifying force smashed down, and even the war horses were smashed into bloody pieces and scattered all over the ground. Hiss! Wei Hong and others took a breath of cold air. What kind of terrifying force is this? I'm afraid it must be no less than 10,000 pounds of strength, right? This is Meteor, one of the top 3 killer organizations in the world. Tamfei couldn't help but sighed. 8 of them are good at using meteor hammers, and each of them has the strength of the peak of refining internal organs. With their combined strength, they can even resist the strong innate realm. How much money did you spend to invite them? Innate? Refining internal organs. Wei Hong murmured in silence, but his eyes were full of desire. Money and enjoyment are just clouds to him. This kind of powerful strength is his lifelong pursuit. The 8 Vajra attack together, the Black Armor Army can't stop it. Yes, I heard that General Meng has an old injury. I wonder if he can take action. If we continue to fight like this, won't we be able to hold on for even a stick of incense? The fighting on the official road is heartbreaking. Just when everyone was anxious, 3 masked men and women rushed out of the forest. They were wearing long clothes and holding sharp swords, floating in the air like hawks and rushing straight from the treetops to the car frame. Innate realm. Everyone was stunned with shock. Wei Hong couldn't help but feel his scalp tingling. Is this the legendary Xiantian realm expert who can temporarily control the air and float in the air, like a land immortal? The 3 people swept the sword energy in their hands, and the frame was broken into pieces in an instant. Then a tall figure holding a long halberd soared into the sky. 4 figures fought madly at low altitude, and various sword energies swept out. The Black Armored Army and the killers were forced to retreat again and again. For a time, people and horses were thrown to the ground in chaos. Boom boom boom. The battle between the 4 Xiantian became more and more intense. They rushed into the mountains and forests from low altitude, and the battlefield continued to expand. The mountains on both sides suffered immediately. A large number of ancient trees were cut off, countless rocks were swept down by the sword energy, and a large number of deep pits appeared on the ground. Whether it was the Black Armored Army or the killer, if they were affected at all, they would vomit blood and die on the spot. Such a shocking scene made everyone even more terrified. Is this the power of the Xiantian? Too scary, isn't it? Oh no, will we be affected? Or should we retreat a little? It shouldn't be that bad, this place is still some distance from the official road. Everyone was discussing in fear. Wei Hong stared at the battlefield intently. Not only was he not frightened, but he showed a trace of envy and obsession. With a wave of his hand, the sword energy soared into the sky, and the grass, trees, mountains and rocks were all crushed to dust. What a terrifying power! Is this the power of the Xiantian realm? I wonder how it compares to the immortal cultivators. One day I will reach this realm. If I can't achieve it in 10 years, I will do it in 20 years. If I can't achieve it in 20 years, I will do it in 100 years. My way will never stop. Wei Hong's eyes gradually became firm. However, the battle on the official road did not last long. Everyone looked up and saw a group of cavalry in the distance. They were coming here from the direction of the capital of the gods at a rapid speed, and they would arrive in less than half a cup of tea. And the battle below was still intense. The tall figure holding a halberd suppressed the 3 innates alone, forcing them to retreat step by step, and one of them even vomited blood. As for the Black Armor Army, although they were killed by the 8 Vajra, they were scattered all over the ground. But they fought to the death, and they would not be completely wiped out for a while. Boom! The earth-shaking sound of horse hooves finally reached the battlefield. Both parties in the bloody battle changed their faces. One was ecstatic and the other was naturally sad. Ha ha ha, brothers, keep killing. Reinforcements have arrived. Retreat. Retreat immediately. After a series of shouts, accompanied by the sound of horse hooves approaching, the masked killers chose to flee without hesitation. They forced back their opponents, turned around and fled into the mountains and forests and retreated completely. Please support and reward. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69, People Are in Panic, Part-Time Executioner? After the battle, martial law was imposed on the official road. A cavalry corps of more than 1,000 people came in a mighty force. Soon, the surroundings were surrounded by water, and merchants and passers-by on both sides of the official road were stopped and not allowed to pass, causing a lot of commotion for a while. Fortunately, as Tan Fei said, if General Meng was not in trouble, everyone would not be implicated. After the patrolling cavalry confirmed their identities, the group was allowed to leave and return to the capital smoothly. In the afternoon, when Wei Hong got off work and walked out of the butcher shop, the whole capital had already spread the news that General Meng was attacked. The streets and alleys were full of discussions in tea houses and wine shops, and even passers-by on the street couldn't help whispering, "Mr. Who, business is good." At the entrance of Xianbao Alley, there was a braised meat stall. The rich aroma wafted from the hot braised meat soup, attracting passers-by to swallow their saliva, and several small tables were already full of diners. An old man in sackcloth clothes with a hunchback raised his cloudy eyes and immediately smiled and said, "Is Wei the butcher here? Come sit down." "No, cut some braised meat to take home." Wei Hong casually ordered, "First cut 2 pounds of braised beef, and then cut 2 pounds of beef waffle." "Okay." The old man in sackcloth clothes agreed happily and quickly fished the meat out of the braised meat soup. "Oh my god, this time General Meng was assassinated, it's really exciting." The patrol camp dispatched tens of thousands of people to track down and search everywhere. It's a big scene. That's right, it is said that it was done by the killer organization Meteor, and it is rumored that King Rui was behind it. Bullshit. I think it was probably done by King Wei. They don't want to see General Meng leading the army to quell the rebellion. Now the anti-kings in various places are rushing to expand their forces. This time it's a big deal. The cautious discussion of the diners on the side came into his ears. Wei Hong smiled and didn't interrupt, nor did he brag about the fact that he had personally witnessed the assassination of General Meng. Instead, a long sigh from a diner caught his attention. "Oh, I wonder how many heads will be chopped off this time." Yes, every time the powerful fight overtly or covertly, a group of people under them will be chopped off. This time General Meng was assassinated, the emperor will definitely investigate in anger. I'm afraid someone will have to take the blame. Tisk tisk tisk, didn't your child get tuberculosis, old Sue? I heard from the old people that eating steamed buns with fresh human blood can cure tuberculosis, and there will be a lot of heads rolling in the vegetable market in a few days. Why don't you try it? The diners were talking and laughing. A short and fat man couldn't help but be moved. Wei Hong's head was buzzing at this moment, and there were only 4 big words in his heart and eyes, heads rolling. Good opportunity. He couldn't help swallowing his saliva, and his heart was even more turbulent. He has always known that killing people can earn more money than killing pigs. But because of various concerns, he has always been patient and low-key, never hurting people, and even more so, he doesn't want to become a demon who slaughters all living beings. But today he suddenly realized that he was a little stupid. He can stick to the bottom line and not kill people indiscriminately, but it doesn't mean that there is no opportunity to kill people openly and reasonably, such as being an executioner who beheads. In this day and age, the emperor is angry and millions of people are buried. Any major case of treason will have to kill thousands or tens of thousands of people. If Wei Hong works part-time as an executioner, wouldn't it be a lot of money? Ha ha ha. The more he thought about it, the happier he became. He threw down a 5 silver ingot and said, "Mr. Who, give everyone here another pound of meat and a jar of wine. I'll treat you today." After that, Wei Hong picked up the beef wrapped in lotus leaves and turned to leave. He did not choose to go home, but went straight to the main street of Bicheng. "Hey, who is this person so generous?" The diners were a little confused. The old man in hemp clothes happily put away the silver ingots, and then said, "This is Wei the butcher from Zhuji meat shop. His grandfather is the old Wei who used to be the night watchman. Maybe he has encountered something happy today. Come on, everyone is eating and drinking, and today Wei the butcher will pay the bill." "That's great, ha ha ha. Old Wei has given birth to a good grandson, and he will be blessed in the future." Yes, it's really enviable. The diners were all smiling after getting a bargain. But they didn't know that Wei Hong was happier than them. After all, it is not easy to find a way to make a living. How could he not be happy when he was enlightened today? Walking all the way to Bicheng Street, Wei Hong bought a jar of huang huli, and then walked to a remote alley and knocked on the door of a dilapidated courtyard. "Who is it? Knock, 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 what are you knocking for?" There was an impatient shouting from the courtyard. Then, a burly bearded man roughly opened the gate, and his pair of copper bell bull eyes glanced over unhappily, which immediately made people feel a chill. "Excuse me, are you Master Deng Haitian?" Wei Hong politely clasped his fists. The bearded man glanced at him up and down, and saw that he was tall and burly with extraordinary momentum. The fierceness on his face was restrained a little, and he said coldly, "It's Deng. Who are you?" "I am Wei Hong, a butcher at Zhuji Meat Shop. My grandfather is old Wei, who used to be the night watchman at Anlafang. I met you at Uncle Lushan's house a few years ago. I wonder if Master Deng still remembers you." After a lot of rambling, Deng Haisheng finally figured out his identity. His stiff face immediately eased a lot, and he squeezed out a smile and said, "It turns out to be my nephew Wei. I saw you a few years ago, but you were still a little kid. I really can't recognize you after not seeing you for a few years. Sorry." With that, Deng Haisheng welcomed him into the courtyard. This courtyard has only one main room and one side room. The space is small and there are a lot of sundries piled up everywhere. It seems that he lives alone. "My dear nephew, please sit down." Deng Haisheng pushed away the sundries on the 8th immortal table, smiled awkwardly and wanted to pour tea, but he couldn't find a clean cup after searching for a long time. "Master Deng, there is no need to rush." Wei Hong placed the meat and wine wrapped in lotus leaves on the table and said with a smile, "I came to visit you today, firstly to reminisce with you on behalf of Uncle Lushan, and secondly, I also want to ask you for a favor." "What is it?" Deng Haisheng found 2 bowls to pour wine while untying the braised beef, then muttered, "I heard that Lushan is dead. You are not lying to me, are you?" "Of course not, Uncle Lushan is indeed dead." Wei Hong choked up and said with emotion, "But I have buried him. Although there is no funeral, I will still pay homage to him on the 1st and 15th day of the lunar month." "Oh." Deng Haisheng didn't know what he remembered. His face suddenly became silent, and he took 2 sips of wine before he couldn't help exclaiming, "Oh my, 20-year-old Huanguli? What a good wine. What do you want to do with such a good wine?" "To be honest, Master Deng." Wei Hong got straight to the point, "I want to learn how to behead." "Learn how to behead?" Deng Haisheng coughed twice. A pair of eyes looked at him suspiciously, as if he was looking at a monster. Chapter 70, Extremely Audacious, 4 Taboos. A butcher actually wants to change his career to become an executioner? This made Deng Haisheng a little confused, and he couldn't help wondering, "Are you here to make fun of me? You can make a lot of money from killing pigs every month, why do you do such dirty work?" "Haha." Wei Hong smiled and poured himself a glass of wine. Although the executioner's job is the same as that of a butcher, it is killing. But there are huge differences in many aspects. After all, one kills people, and the other kills pigs. Although the butcher is dirty and tiring, he earns a lot and walks out decent. Executioners kill people all year round and are full of evil spirits. Most of them have a bad temper and are addicted to alcohol. It is also rumored that they are unlucky for their relatives and parents, so most of them can't even get married and have to be lonely all their lives. At the same time, executioners are involved in too many lives and are likely to encounter dirty things. So being a butcher these days will make people envy, but being an executioner is a low-class job, and it will only make people disgusted when you walk out. Deng Haisheng really couldn't understand why Wei Hong would jump into this fire pit. "Don't mess around, kid." Deng Haisheng couldn't help but persuade him, "You are only 17 or 18 years old this year, right? If you become an executioner, it will be difficult to get married in the future. Which good family will marry their daughter to a person who kills people every day?" "I don't care about getting married." Wei Hong smiled indifferently. "To be honest with Master Deng, I have suffered from bloodthirsty disease since I was a child. I can't control my emotions if I don't kill for a day, so I chose to be a butcher. But now killing pigs is not enough, I want to kill people." Hiss. Deng Haisheng took a breath of cold air and felt his scalp tingling. What kind of weird disease is this? Can't he be a born madman? There are always some people in the world who are well-dressed but cruel and bloodthirsty. I didn't expect Wei Hong to be such a person. Deng Haisheng subconsciously felt a chill. You can't afford to provoke such a person. "My dear nephew." Deng Haisheng smiled and said, "It's not good to work in our business. It's easy to offend people and run into dirty things. You should think about it carefully before you speak." "No need to think about it. I just want to kill people." Wei Hong was too lazy to talk nonsense. He took out a silver note of 100 taels and slapped it on the table. "Master Deng, this small apprenticeship fee is not a respect. You don't have to worry that I will get sick. After all, I just want to kill people openly. I won't do anything to commit crimes. This. Deng Haisheng's expression changed for a while. Finally, he smiled calmly and accepted the silver note. Okay. Deng Haisheng nodded and said, since my dear nephew wants to learn, then I will do my best to teach you. After saying that, he couldn't help but take a sip of wine, and then said with a strange expression, is there still someone who is eager to be an executioner these days? It's really strange. In the past, we were not poor and destitute. Who would do such a dirty job? Everyone has their own ambitions. Wei Hong chuckled. That's right, everyone has their own aspirations. Deng Haisheng said no more, and said directly, we executioners are nominally under the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Justice, but we have no rank or salary. We are just registered in the Ministry of Justice and are ready to work at any time. Usually, we are rewarded with 2 cents of silver for beheading a person. We don't have any other income except for some red envelopes given by the family members of the prisoners who collect the bodies. Therefore, we live a poor life and have to find other ways to support ourselves when we have nothing to do. If you want to be an executioner, it's easy. I will find someone to record you in the list of the Ministry of Justice. Just practice with my apprentice first. Wei Hong smiled with satisfaction. As the saying goes, money makes the devil work, and the ancients are not deceiving me. As long as you are willing to spend money, isn't it easy to be an executioner part-time? Nephew, do you want to learn beheading or to learn to wield a knife? Deng Haisheng asked again. What does wielding a knife mean? Beheading means putting in effort, while wielding a knife is a technical job. Deng Haisheng took a sip of wine and said with a smile, you know about the death penalty by lynching, right? A small knife is used to cut the prisoner's body 3,000 times, and the prisoner is not allowed to die during the period, otherwise the executioner will have to pay with his life. Those who do not have a family heritage dare not wield the knife. No need to be so troublesome. Wei Hong waved his hand indifferently, I just want to chop off the head and see blood. I have no interest in wielding a knife by lynching. Okay. Deng Haisheng breathed a sigh of relief, if you want to learn to wield a knife, I will have to spend some time teaching you the family craft for the sake of the 100 taels of tuition. And since you only want to learn to behead, it will be much simpler. You kill pigs all day in the butcher shop, and you are a martial artist, so your knife skills should be pretty good. When beheading, you only need to aim at the 3rd section of the back of the neck. Wei Hong raised his hand and touched his neck. He had a rough idea in his mind. With his sword skills, it was not difficult to hit here. He would make sure that the prisoner's head would fly off as soon as the sword fell. There would be no delay at all. What if the prisoner is very strong and his skin is invulnerable to swords and guns when beheading? Wei Hong continued to ask. Deng Haisheng sneered while eating braised beef, what does it matter if he is very strong? On the first day of entering the prison of the Ministry of Justice, you have to use iron chains to pierce your scapula, and your tendons of your hands and feet have to be disabled. You will be tortured in prison for a period of time. Even a strong person in the innate realm will be neither human nor ghost. And the beheading is done with a special black gold and black iron ghost head sword made by the Ministry of Justice. This thing can cut iron like mud. No matter how strong the skin is, it can't stop a sword. Don't worry. Then, Deng Haisheng talked about many rules and taboos of the executioner. Rule 1. Don't talk to the prisoner, let alone look at the prisoner. Rule 2. Before the execution, you must drink alcohol and spray the knife. The alcohol is made by mixing strong liquor with black dog blood, which has the effect of blocking the resentment. Rule 3. Before the execution, you must worship the heaven and earth and ghosts and gods to avoid being entangled by karma. Rule 4. After the execution, you cannot look back all the way back to the yamen. After arriving at the yamen, go to the main hall and let the yamen runners beat you with a board, in order to beat away the wronged souls. People call this beating the evil spirits. These are the rules left by the older generation. Deng Haisheng said with a serious face, if you don't want to be entangled by the weird, you'd better remember them, otherwise killing too many people and the resentful souls will come to claim your life is no joke. There are not many executioners who can have a good end these days. Wei Hong felt a chill for no reason. However, he was a bold man and was not frightened by these few words. Instead, he nodded solemnly and said, thank you for your teaching, Master Deng. I have taken note of it. I wonder when I can learn to behead people. In a few days, you have also seen the recent situation. Deng Haisheng sneered, Every time the powerful fight overtly and covertly, there will always be some unlucky people who become scapegoats. There is no need to wait until the autumn to behead people. There are people who fall head every day. I will find some connections to put your name on the list in the next 2 days. I will notify you when you need to behead people. Don't worry about not having heads to be chopped off. I am just afraid that you will be soft-hearted by then. Soft-hearted. Wei Hong was slightly stunned, and finally sighed silently. He is a human being, not a demon. How can he not be soft-hearted when killing people? In feudal society, families were often confiscated and clans were exterminated. Many women, children, the elderly and the young were obviously innocent but were pushed to the guillotine. Will he really be able to do it then? Chapter 71 Beheading at the Execution Ground. The crime is unforgivable. Wei Hong had mixed feelings for a few days. He couldn't get over the indiscriminate killing of innocent people. But he couldn't regret it. On the 4th day, Deng Haisheng came to him and handed him a blood-red executioner suit, telling him to work at BGK Shikao at 15:30 the next day, and he needed to arrive 15 minutes in advance to prepare. It happened that the situation was chaotic these days. The second-in-command Tan Fei didn't dare to go to the countryside to collect pigs. The pigs and sheep slaughtered every day were transported from the water and land docks. Therefore, Wei Hong was very free in the afternoon, but he had time to go there to behead. After lunch, Wei Hong changed into blood-red coat early. With a red cloth tied on his head, his executioner's outfit attracted the attention of passers-by. When he arrived at BGK Shikao, he saw that the place was already crowded with people and bustling. There was a beheading platform on one side of the intersection, and more than a dozen yamen runners were guarding it. On the platform, Deng Haisheng also changed into blood-red clothes. He was holding a ghost-headed sword and resting his eyes. When Wei Hong walked over, the yamen runners looked at him but did not stop him. Although he was a stranger, he was wearing the executioner's clothes, so naturally no one would not be blind. Master Deng. Well, are you here? Deng Haisheng looked up and nodded with satisfaction. We have to chop off 17 or 18 heads today. They are all the bandits who committed crimes some time ago. The yamen is going to empty the prison. Deng Haisheng explained casually. Wei Hong understood what he meant by these words in seconds. First, he was comforting himself that he didn't have to have psychological pressure, and the bandits were not wrongly killed. Second, he also vaguely revealed some information that the assassination of General Meng still needed to be investigated. It was estimated that many people would die next, so the yamen killed a batch of prisoners and advanced to prepare to empty the cells to welcome the next batch of unlucky people. At noon, a sedan chair slowly came with the yamen runners leading the way. There were more than a dozen prisoner cars escorted by armored soldiers from the patrol camp at the back. The prisoner cars were lined up across the crowd, and fierce-looking bandits were escorted to the stage. A middle-aged official in official uniform slowly got off the sedan chair. Under the scorching sun, the middle-aged official ignored the pointing and talking around him. He sat behind the desk and flipped through the files, then ordered the clerk beside him, "It's getting late, let's get started." "Yes." The clerk held up the scroll and faced the people, reading aloud. It was found that 18 bandits including Liu Qing and Su Hai gathered in county to become bandits, burning, killing, looting, and committing all kinds of evil, causing the people to suffer and panic. Their crimes should be punished and cannot be tolerated. Today, the Ministry of Justice has sentenced the bandits to be beheaded in public to rectify the national law and calm the public anger. If there are imitators, the national law will not tolerate it. Good. Kill these bastards. Kill. Chop them up quickly. The crowd watching the excitement below the stage suddenly surged. Some people were filled with righteous indignation and gnashed their teeth, while others simply wanted to see the bloody excitement. The middle-aged official nodded with satisfaction, threw down a bamboo stick with the word ZHI engraved on it, and shouted loudly, "The auspicious time has come, verify the identity and behead." "Yes." Deng Haisheng agreed loudly. He picked up the wine bowl beside him, took a sip and sprayed it on the ghost-headed sword. Then he pulled out the stick on the neck of the first bandit to verify the identity. After checking that it was correct, he pressed his head on the guillotine and cut it off with a vicious knife. Puff. The bandit's head flew up with his eyes wide open. The blood splashed out like a fountain. This scene scared the crowd and caused screams. Many timid and curious women and children were frightened and turned pale, while more people were excited and cheered. "Did you see it?" Deng Haisheng looked at Wei Hong calmly and asked with a smile, "Do you dare to do it?" "Why not? You take a rest. Let me do it. Wei Hong took the ghost-headed broadsword from him. After weighing it, he found that the sword weighed at least more than 30 kilograms. Moreover, the material used was extremely luxurious, and the whole body was forged with black iron mixed with black gold. No wonder it could chop off the heads of these mountain bandits. You know, they are all martial arts masters. Go, verify the identity, and cut with a knife. Deng Haisheng reminded again, only cut the third section of the neck. Well. Wei Hong stepped forward without changing his face. The second person to be taken to the guillotine was a young man with a pointed chin and monkey cheeks. He was full of fear but pretended to be fierce, and roared with gritted teeth, "Boy, dare you to touch me? I am the little bully of An County. I am not easy to mess with. Be careful or I will kill your whole family and rape your sisters." Wei Hong didn't even bother to look at him. While comparing his identity with the portrait in the file, he pulled out the wooden stick from his neck. "No, no, no, please, don't kill me. Please don't kill me, or I won't let you go even if I do something stupid." The sharp-nosed and monkey-faced young man who had threatened fiercely just now was already scared to death, and was wailing for mercy in fear, but no matter how much he howled, he couldn't shake Wei Hong at all. He took a mouthful of strong liquor and sprayed it on the ghost-headed sword. Then he stepped on the prisoner on the guillotine with one foot, just like he had slaughtered pigs and sheep countless times before, raised the sword expressionlessly, and chopped it down quickly, accurately and ruthlessly like lightning. Shoo! Puff! The head flew up. The prisoner's terrified face froze on his face. The next moment, the head rolled to the ground and slid far away, and blood spurted out. Good kill. Good knife skills. There were cheers from the audience. But this time there were more people who fainted and screamed. Perhaps because martial artists have strong blood and energy, the blood of the prisoners is always exaggerated. Most people would get sick when they behead someone for the first time. But Wei Hong sneered and let the head stare at him. Ling. Life force plus 374, not bad. Wei Hong smiled and had a rough estimate of the strength of this prisoner. Since he killed Zhang Fushan and a dozen members of the Blood Crow gang on the last chaotic night, he has estimated the law of obtaining killing force. Killing an ordinary person is roughly equivalent to killing 10 pigs, and you can get 100 to 200 life forces. As the strength of the deceased continues to increase, the amount of life forces will continue to rise. From the early stage of the skin refining realm to the perfect stage of the skin refining realm, you can get about 200 to 500 life forces, so the prisoner just killed should be in the middle and late stages of the skin refining realm. Killing one person is equivalent to the income of killing pigs for 2 days. It's a big profit. Wei Hong smacked his lips with satisfaction, dragged the second prisoner and started to kill. Puff, puff, puff. Heads fell one after another, and the smell of blood went up to the sky. The hustle and bustle around the vegetable market gradually died down, and more people were frightened and turned pale. The crowd was already silent. Only the image of Wei Hong curling his lips and smiling as he raised his knife to kill people remained, which was imprinted in everyone's mind for a long time and could not be forgotten. Damn it, I thought he would not be used to beheading for the first time, but he became more and more excited the more he killed. He is really a madman who is born to do this. Deng Haisheng couldn't help but murmur in shock. Chapter 72, Chopping Melons and Vegetables, Notorious. Who is the executioner today? He is so quick and decisive, beheading people like chopping melons and vegetables. It is really frightening. Yes, you see he is smiling. He is clearly enjoying it. This is too cold-blooded. Haha, I think it should be like this. These bandits deserve to be killed for their crimes. Well done. Isn't this Wei the butcher from Zhuji meat shop? He doesn't kill pigs, but comes here to behead people. There was a lot of discussion on Keishikao Street. Wei Hong's cold-blooded killing made many people's scalps numb. At the same time, he also unknowingly gained a lot of reputation, letting more people know that there is a ruthless executioner on this street, and his notoriety began to spread quietly. Good boy, you have a tough heart. The middle-aged official in charge of supervising the execution said with admiration, "Who is this?" Reporting to the Lord, "This is the apprentice of Deng Wu." The clerk on the side replied quickly, "It is said that he has just been registered. His surname is Wei and his name is Hong. He is only 17 years old this year. He usually makes a living by slaughtering pigs in the butcher shop." A butcher who is also an executioner? He is quite a strange man. The middle-aged official had a strange look on his face. Ordinary executioners would feel nervous and trembling after killing a few people, for fear that the resentful spirits would find them, and they would have to wait for a few days before continuing to behead. But this kid is getting more and more excited as he kills. It's really interesting. That's right. The clerk also said in amazement, anyone who sees the rolling head staring at him with their eyes wide open would be scared to the point of falling seriously ill. Even an old hand like Deng Wu would have to drink a lot of alcohol to fall asleep after chopping off a few more heads. This kid is really weird. In full view of everyone, Wei Hong didn't care what other people thought of him. Anyway, they were all big bandits, so there was no psychological pressure to kill them. One knife could exchange hundreds of vitality points for a head. He simply treated these unlucky guys as wild monsters, so he was very happy to kill them. The last one. Wei Hong dragged the bloody ghost-headed broadsword and walked towards a middle-aged man with gray hair, strong muscles, and cold eyes. The file records that this man is called Liu Qing, and he is 36 years old this year. He is also a well-known existence among the mountain bandits in An County. He has reached the middle stage of blood refining. He is not only powerful but also ruthless and intelligent. There are countless souls who have died in his hands. This kind of murderer can almost stop children from crying at night. But Wei Hong just silently took a sip of the strong wine, sprayed it on the blade as usual, and prepared to take action without saying a word. Boy, you killed 15 of my brothers, you are a ruthless man. Liu Qing did not resist, but just lay on the guillotine and looked at Wei Hong sideways. His eyes were filled with chilling coldness, which made people shudder. Haha, if I had met you 2 years earlier, I could have rewarded you with wealth, but what a pity. Be careful when walking on the night road in the future. I have many brothers who have not been caught. If I can't kill the dog officials, can I kill you? Come on, give me a quick death. Liu Qing chuckled and began to shake his head and sing an unknown little song. Wei Hong was too lazy to pay attention to his crazy words. Always remembering the rule of not talking to prisoners, he raised the knife and chopped it down with all his strength. Shoo! Puff! Liu Qing's head flew high, and blood sprayed all over the ground. He died with a smile on his lips, as if he was singing a song even when he died. Ling. Life Force plus 794, the blood refining realm is indeed the blood refining realm. Even though he has been tortured in prison for so long, there is still a terrifying force rebounding from under the skin membrane when he cuts down. If an ordinary person came to cut him, he would definitely be ambushed. Fortunately, my foundation is solid, otherwise I would have suffered a great loss today. Wei Hong secretly exhaled a foul breath. Then he returned the ghost-headed sword to Deng Haisheng, lowered his voice and said, "Fortunately, I have fulfilled my mission. Thank you Master Deng for your help. Today, I really had a great time killing people." "You kid." Deng Haisheng was about to say something but stopped. "Master Deng, don't worry." Seeing this, Wei Hong hurriedly said, "The reward money for these heads belongs to you. I will prepare a table of food at Zufenglao later. I hope you will do me a favor." "Okay, okay." Deng Haisheng nodded repeatedly, his face full of joy. Since Wei Hong knows how to behave, why should he say more? Reporting to the Lord, Deng Haisheng raised his ghost-headed broadsword and shouted to the supervising officer, "Today, all 17 bandits have been identified and beheaded for public display. Please give your instructions." "Yes." The middle-aged official nodded with satisfaction, and then stood up and left. When his sedan chair left, dozens of men and women immediately rushed out of the crowd below. They pounced on the execution ground like hungry wolves. Even Wei Hong was frightened by this change and subconsciously wanted to touch the black iron plum blossom needle. "Don't panic." Deng Haisheng smiled and reminded, "The head has been chopped off. No one will rob the execution ground at this time. They just want to get some human blood." Human blood steamed buns. Wei Hong suddenly realized it. He was stunned to watch these people bribe the Yamen runners with money. Then he used steamed buns to dip the blood plasma on the ground with a pious face, ready to take it back to treat his children. This kind of foolish thing is already the norm in the Great Zhou. Wei Hong naturally couldn't say much except sighing. "Let's go back to the Ministry of Justice." Deng Haisheng said, "The one we killed today is a big bandit. His body will be thrown into a mass grave and fed to dogs. No family will come to redeem him. Otherwise, we can make a small fortune." After that, the two of them walked to the government office one after the other. Deng Haisheng walked along with a knife on his shoulder, and passers-by retreated in all directions. It was as if they had seen some plague god, fearing that they would be contaminated by bad luck. Many people who had seen Wei Hong killing people avoided him as if they had seen a ghost. The scene was quite funny. Did you see it? Deng Haisheng mocked himself. Our business is stinking shit. Who would be willing to do it if they couldn't survive? It must be you who are crazy and want to do this kind of dirty work, even if you spend money. Ha ha ha. Wei Hong laughed dumbly. Let's go back to the yamen first. Deng Haisheng flicked a ghost-headed broadsword and said with emotion, we can't lose this thing, otherwise both of our heads will be in danger. As they spoke, the two went straight to the Ministry of Justice. It was Wei Hong's first time here. The Ministry of Justice was located at the junction of Anlifang and Pinganfang, occupying an area of more than half a street. There were 4 stone statues of gluttonous beasts at the door, and there were also constables guarding the door. At first glance, the aura was terrifying. Deng Haisheng took him into a side hall of the yamen with ease. He first found a clerk to hand over the ghost-headed broadsword, and then found 2 constables to slap themselves, completing the steps of exorcising evil spirits, and then received the reward for beheading today, and said happily, let's go and have a drink. Okay. Zhu Fanglao, don't go home until you are drunk. Wei Hong agreed happily. He killed 16 heads today and earned 6,000 or 7,000 lives. It was more than what he earned from slaughtering pigs in the past month. He was in a good mood and naturally would not hesitate to celebrate. Chapter 73 Recruiting Soldiers, Forcibly Conscripting Them into the Army? Zhu Fanglao guests are noisy and clinking glasses. Wei Hong and Deng Haisheng found a seat by the window on the second floor. They ordered a table of good wine and food, and the two of them drank comfortably. Come on, you have a good time killing today, Master Deng, I toast you a glass. You kid, you are really weird. Deng Haisheng smiled bitterly and shook his head. However, he was still very satisfied with this apprentice who he accepted inexplicably. Wei Hong is a man who knows how to advance and retreat. He kills people without blinking an eye. He is really a good material for being a natural executioner. Deng Haisheng just brought him into this business, and he didn't spend any effort to get a favor from him. It's also very cost-effective. Come on, keep drinking. I won't go home until I'm drunk today. The two continued to clink glasses. They were having a great time eating meat and drinking. But Wei Hong's eyes were attracted by the movement on the street before he drank for a while. It turned out that a group of soldiers had set up tables at the street corner with great fanfare and posted a royal edict. Several strong men with loud voices were shouting and yelling. The country is in danger now. The rebel king is in rebellion. The country is in danger and the people are in dire straits. If the country is gone, how can we have a home? At this critical moment, the officials of the court have decided to recruit soldiers to fight against the rebels. Today, we will send General Meng Biu to the south to quell the rebellion. We are now recruiting people with lofty ideals to take up arms to defend the country. Those who join the army will be exempt from taxes for 3 years, and their monthly military pay will be generous. If they have military merits, they will be awarded a title of nobility and appointed as prime ministers. If they are injured or killed, they will be treated generously. The shouts immediately attracted attention from the people around. Passers-by on the street stopped to watch, and soon the place was crowded. Are you recruiting soldiers? My goodness, you've even recruited soldiers in the capital of gods. Deng Haisheng put down his wine bowl and cursed, these princes and nobles in the court are so stupid. Why don't they recruit soldiers in other places instead of coming to the capital of gods to embarrass themselves? The great Zhou dynasty has been established for 800 years, why is it still in such a predicament? Do we have to run out of tricks to quell a few rebel kings? Master Deng, be careful with your words. Wei Hong reminded casually, the situation in the great Zhou is turbulent and chaotic now. There are barbarians attacking from outside and rebel kings rebelling from inside. The prefectures and cities are suffering from disasters one after another and are unable to take care of themselves. They simply cannot spare troops to quell the rebellion. It is normal to temporarily recruit troops from the capital of gods and march south. This young man is right. The rebel kings have been rebelling for a long time and the court has not been able to send troops. Now we have finally invited General Meng to come out. What else can we do if we don't recruit soldiers temporarily? The black armored army is still guarding the border, the northern barbarians and the southern barbarians are eyeing them covetously, and the border troops can't spare any manpower from anywhere. Yes, I heard that the court is going to draw 12 patrol battalions from the capital of the gods and recruit 500,000 new soldiers to march south, training them while marching. Alice. Only in the capital of the gods did they issue the imperial edict to recruit soldiers. If it were in other places. The diners in Zhufanglao were discussing endlessly. Wei Hong naturally understood the trick. Only in the capital of the gods did they have to have some face to recruit soldiers. If it were in other places, they would have to forcefully recruit able-bodied men. It seems that the situation in the Great Zhou is really not optimistic. Wei Hong murmured in a low voice. Who cares? If the sky falls, there are tall people to hold it up. Deng Hai took a sip of wine, and then said gloatingly, no matter how chaotic the world is, it has nothing to do with us ordinary people. I guess few people are willing to go to recruit soldiers. In the end, the court will still ask the big families to share the burden. That's right. Wei Hong nodded in agreement. The twists and turns in it are actually tacitly understood. The imperial court spent a lot of money to recruit soldiers, but few people dared to go. In the end, the pressure would be put on the rich and powerful families, forcing them to contribute money, labor, and food. Under pressure, the rich families would turn around and exploit the people. This is the underlying logic of class rule. The recruitment of soldiers on the street was noisy. People were attracted to sign up one after another. However, most people were still very sober. The imperial court was recruiting cannon fodder. Only fools would go. Be careful that you will get the money but not the life to spend it. Silence, silence. At this time, a tall general roared, how can you enjoy the blessing of the Great Zhou without thinking about serving the country? Now that the country is in crisis, it is a great time for men of our generation to stand out. If you have the balls, follow me to the battlefield to suppress the rebellion and kill the enemy. Follow general men to go to war, and I guarantee that you can all be appointed as marquises and generals. Now, each person who is registered can receive 30 taels of resettlement allowance, 3 taels of military pay per month after joining the army, armor, cotton clothes, and swords, and can also practice superior martial arts for free, and secret medicines are distributed every month. Our founding ancestor of the Great Zhou was born as a military soldier. 800 years ago, he risked his life to lay this unparalleled foundation. Don't you want to emulate the ancients and make achievements? In the crowd, many young men were stimulated and their blood boiled. Settlement allowances and military pay are not too attractive. But learning superior martial arts and various secret medicines for free is really exciting. You know, it is not easy for civilians to practice martial arts. Who doesn't want to become stronger and change their destiny? At this time, shouting a few more slogans about sacrificing one's life to build a career, the young people were so excited that they inevitably made a choice. I'll go. Count me in. Damn, what's the big deal about death? I'm not afraid of being poor. More and more people stood up to line up to sign up. Wei Hong frowned and looked at the general who had just spoken, and recognized his identity, Meng Keishan. This man had fought with him on the pleasure boat, and he was given a lot of face at that time. I didn't expect to meet him here. Meng Keishan? Meng Biao. Wei Hong was surprised in his heart. Could this guy also be a member of the Meng family? That's right, this surname is not common. There are thousands of disciples in the Meng family's side branches, and it's not surprising to have some blood connection. This time, General Meng will definitely send his family members to follow him when he goes to war. While thinking, Meng Keishan below also raised his head and looked over. The two looked at each other, and a trace of surprise flashed in his eyes. Haha. Meng Keishan raised a playful sneer at the corner of his mouth. He waved his hand directly to signal other soldiers to continue registering. He led 2 people upstairs and immediately attracted everyone's attention. General, do you want to drink tea? The waiter nodded and bowed to greet him. Meng Keishan waved his hand impatiently and pushed him away. He stood in front of Wei Hong and Deng Haisheng's table with his people. His huge figure, which was high above them, brought extreme oppression, and the aura he exuded silently was even more suffocating. Blood refining realm. Wei Hong frowned slightly. He sensed a threat from him that he had never seen in the skin refining realm. The last time the two fought, Meng Keishan was still in the perfect skin refining realm, but now he could threaten Wei Hong, proving that he had not been in vain during this period of time, and had obviously broken through to the blood refining realm. Wei Hong, right. Meng Keishan said with a fake smile. Meng is now recruiting you as a soldier of the Rebellion Suppression Army. As a temporary recruiting lieutenant of the Rebellion Suppression Army, Go down and register now. Hiss. There were bursts of gasps from all around. No matter how stupid everyone was, they could see that there was a disagreement between the two. Meng Keishan clearly wanted to use his status to forcibly recruit Wei Hong as a soldier. Chapter 74, Disobeying Military Orders and Making Enemies. Good fellow, this guy could have offended anyone else but the military commander, and now he is being forced to be cannon fodder, right? Tisk tisk tisk, how pitiful. If the two have a grudge, won't they be bullied once they enter the military camp? SHH. Keep your voices down. What if we make this military commander unhappy and he wants to force us to join the army? Everyone was talking about it with glee. Pairs of eyes were scanning from all over the restaurant. Wei Hong raised his eyebrows and was extremely surprised. He never thought that he would meet Meng Keishan here today, and he never thought that this bastard would be so vindictive that he wanted to force him to be cannon fodder. I'm sorry, sir. Wei Hong sneered and said, I have an elderly grandfather to support at home, and I have no intention of joining the army for the time being. Haha. Meng Keishan laughed even more happily, with a playful sneer on his face. What does your intention have to do with me? Now I am forcibly recruiting you to join the army on behalf of the rebellion recruiting department. Wei Hong, do you want to disobey the military order? Swish. Two soldiers on the side drew their swords and threatened. If he dared to refuse or resist, they would kill him without hesitation. Wei Hong's fingers tapped the table unconsciously, and his eyes looked at Meng Keishan coldly. Obviously, he also saw that this person wanted to take the opportunity to kill him, and he wished that he would turn against him on the spot. No matter how capable Wei Hong is at that time. In this divine capital where masters gather and heavily guarded, he can't escape the fate of being arrested and suppressed. But joining the army is not what he wants. Being cannon fodder on the battlefield is so dangerous, he absolutely doesn't want to go. When Wei Hong was struggling with how to deal with it, Deng Heisheng suddenly said, I'm sorry, sir. My apprentice doesn't want to join the army. Please give me some face. Face? Who do you think you are? How dare you talk to me about face? Meng Keishan roared impatiently, when the country is in trouble, every man has his own rules. Do you really want to disobey the military order? No, no, no. Deng Heisheng said with a smile, I am an executioner registered in the Ministry of Justice. Wei Hong is my apprentice. He is also on the list of the Ministry of Justice. According to the rules, he is fully qualified to refuse the call-up. Oh. Wei Hong's eyes lit up. Meng Keishan's face turned livid. Everyone didn't expect this kind of change, and they couldn't help whispering for a while. Alice. Wei Hong pretended to sigh and said, Look, sir, what a coincidence, isn't it? Today I just took on the job of an executioner, and it just happened that I passed the list of the Ministry of Justice. You tell me. I don't want to disobey the military order, but I really can't do anything. Puff. There were bursts of suppressed laughter in the crowd. Meng Keishan's face became even uglier. However, he didn't say anything more, just gave Deng Heisheng a cold look. Then he turned around and left with his men, returning to the street to recruit soldiers. Only Wei Hong knew that this petty bastard had not given up looking for trouble. If there was a chance, it would be better to kill him completely, otherwise it would be troublesome in the future. Thank you, Master Deng. Wei Hong silently poured a glass of wine and said seriously, if it weren't for you speaking out for justice, I'm afraid I would be in big trouble today. I owe you a favor. Don't talk about that. I just told the truth. Deng Heisheng waved his hand proudly. Besides, I feed my whole family. I have chopped off countless heads over the years. Would I be afraid of a young boy like him? You have to be careful. I don't know how you offended such a person. Wei Hong chuckled and said nothing more. He raised his hand and drank the wine, blocking his murderous eyes. If Deng Heisheng hadn't suddenly rescued him today, he would probably agree to join the army, and then find a way to arrange for his grandfather to evacuate the capital, abandoning all his foundations and playing a dead-end game. So he had to remember this favor. He also had to remember the grudge against Meng Keishan. Wei Hong has always been a person who clearly distinguishes between gratitude and resentment. He doesn't care about the other party's suspected identity as a branch of the Meng family. He looks at Meng Keishan as if he is looking at a dead person. In the evening, after having a good meal and a good drink, Wei Hong sent Deng Heisheng away before returning to Xianbao Lane. As soon as he got home, he saw Grandpa, Grandma Wang, Chunlin and Qiuju looking at him worriedly. Obviously, The news on the street had reached everyone's ears. "You little bastard, you became an executioner? And you chopped off dozens of heads." Old Wei slammed the table in shock and anger. "Why didn't you discuss such a big thing with your family? How are you going to get married after doing such a dirty job? Who dares to marry their daughter to a butcher?" 16. Wei Hong poured him a cup of tea and sighed indifferently. "It's not easy to survive these days. I just want to get stronger quickly. Who cares whether I can get married in the future? You." Old Wei was so angry that he had a headache. Grandma Wen quickly advised, "Brother Hong, don't be angry with your grandfather. Being an executioner is not something that ordinary people can do. He is also doing this for your own good." "I know." Wei Hong smiled indifferently, "but it is too difficult to become strong in this world. I have no family background to help me, so I can only abandon everything to pursue power. What's the point of getting married? A wife, children and a warm bed have never been in my life plan." Everyone was a little puzzled about what he meant. Wei Hong was too lazy to say anything else, and directly comforted him. "Grandpa, don't worry, I have my own plans for my life. As long as I become strong enough, I can find any woman. I will marry dozens of wives and concubines and give you hundreds of grandchildren to hold." "Nonsense, you stinky boy." Old Wei smiled bitterly and cursed, but his heart was finally relieved. Wei Hong is a child with his own ideas. He has been very opinionated since he was a child. Although Old Wei didn't quite agree with him being an executioner. But the overall situation has been decided. What else can he say? He can only pinch his nose and accept this matter. "Grandpa, you don't know yet." Wei Hong continued, "If I hadn't registered with the Ministry of Justice today, I would have been forced to be cannon fodder." Then he told the story of mencation again. Everyone was shocked when they heard it. Qi Uju patted her chest and muttered repeatedly, "Fortunately, if you were dragged into the military camp, you would definitely be harmed. Alice, good and bad are interdependent and things in the world are unpredictable." Well. Old Wei said no more, but repeatedly reminded him to be more careful. "The current situation is turbulent, and we are lucky to be able to survive. Today, the people of the Tiger Hut gang came to collect fees again." Grandma Wang sighed and said, "In the past, there were all kinds of messy taxes, and now there is a fee for suppressing riots. Each person has to pay 5 cents of silver. If life is not a little easier now, how can we pay this little money?" Chunlin and Qiuju were also scared when they heard it. Thanks to Wei Hong's protection, they were able to move out of the slums and earn money to support their families in the embroidery room. Otherwise, the protection fees collected by the Tiger Hut gang alone would be enough to drive them to death. The world is really difficult and it is not easy to survive. Please vote and read on. Chapter 75, Entrusting an Orphan to One's Care, Why Must It Come to This? At night, when Wei Hong was preparing to practice as usual, an unexpected person suddenly visited. Uncle Lin. Wei Hong looked at Lin Wuxian, who was wearing a gray robe and covering his face with his sleeves, and couldn't help showing a trace of surprise. He hurriedly welcomed him in. "Go to your room, don't disturb others." Lin Wuxian looked tired and his voice was hoarse. Wei Hong nodded and took him directly into the room. After pouring him a cup of tea, he asked, "Uncle Lin, what happened to you?" "Alice." Lin Wuxian sighed and handed over a house deed, saying, "This is the house deed of this small courtyard. I have transferred it to your name. You can live here with peace of mind in the future." "What does this mean?" Wei Hong was shocked. "A small courtyard in Chengdu, no matter how remote it is, will cost thousands of taels of silver. Lin Wuxian actually gave him the courtyard? Why is it so?" "Uncle Lin, this is not necessary, right?" Wei Hong hurriedly evaded the question. "You also know that I am getting more and more well off now, whether it is renting or buying a house. You don't have to help me like this." "Stinky boy." Lin Wuxian smiled bitterly and said with emotion, "Of course I know you are capable now. This time it is not to help, but to entrust an orphan to me." "Entrust an orphan to me." Wei Hong's tone was a little heavy. Lin Wuxian smiled bitterly and said, "Today I have heard about your being an executioner. Maybe within half a month, I will have to trouble you to send me off. It is also good to arrange some money early, so as not to be confiscated by others." These words contained too much information. Wei Hong was still a little confused for a while. But he could probably guess that Lin Wuxian was afraid that he was involved in the struggle of the powerful and got into big trouble, otherwise he would not say such discouraging words. "Uncle, calm down." Wei Hong smiled deliberately to comfort him. You are an honest restaurant owner, how could you get into trouble if you don't provoke anyone? Alice. Lin Wusheng sighed and patiently told this story. A few years ago, when he was poor and destitute, he was appreciated by a nobleman and became a restaurant owner. His life became more and more stable. This nobleman was Ding Weimao, a third-rank minister of the Ministry of Personnel. He was born in a poor family and was once a jinshi in the third list. He has been up and down in the court for many years. Although he is not as good as a first-class family. In this divine capital, he can barely be regarded as a second or third-rate figure. In recent years, he has joined the prince's army and fought in battles, and there is a tendency to go further. It stands to reason that with such a noble person as a backer, a restaurant owner, should live a carefree life. Lin Wusheng said bitterly, but there are unexpected events. The situation in the court is changing, and a fire has burned my boss's head. The assassination of General Meng this time is most likely the work of several rebel kings, but the emperor is in his twilight years. The crown prince and the sixth prince have been fighting for the supreme throne for years, and this time the assassin deliberately left clues pointing to the crown prince. Lin Wusheng was about to say something but stopped. Wei Hong couldn't help but curse inwardly. No matter how stupid he was, he understood what was meant by this. No matter whether Ding Weimao colluded with a rebel king or was framed by someone, once it involves a power struggle, the superiors may treat the subordinates as abandoned pawns. Sacrificing the rook to save the king is nothing more than this. The Ministry of Justice is busy clearing out the cells, and a large number of people will be implicated and investigated in the near future. Wei Hong frowned and analyzed. If the backer behind you falls, it is normal to implicate you, but you don't have to entrust your orphan to someone else, right? You don't understand. Lin Wusheng smiled bitterly with a pale face. Xingho Pavilion has been helping the prince collect intelligence, make friends with the powerful, and welcome and send off guests over the years. As the shopkeeper, I know too many secrets and am not an ordinary businessman at all. Power struggles have always been rooted out. If you catch a little bit of the opponent's handle, you will have to punish the entire clan. How can my family survive? Wei Hong was speechless. Although he was in the capital of the gods, he always thought that power struggles had nothing to do with ordinary people like him. Now that people around him are suddenly involved in it, he realized that the power struggle is right next to him. Whether it was the last dispute between the Tiger Head Gang and the Blood Crow Gang, or the assassination of General Meng, the people at the bottom will be the ones who suffer in the end. Pack up. Wei Hong said seriously, I will send you out of the city tomorrow morning. The reckoning has not started yet. A few days are enough to escape thousands of miles away. It's useless. Lin Wusheng sighed bitterly, there are spies all around me. If I move, I will be held down. How can I escape with my family? Wei Hong fell silent again. He was just a late-stage skin-refining warrior. At this time, he was not sure that he could send Lin Wusheng and his family away. Lin Wusheng smiled freely and sighed, I have received wealth and honor from my boss. It is normal to share the same prosperity and loss. It's just death. It's just a pity for my 5-year-old daughter Yuan. Do you want me to send her away or adopt her? Wei Hong didn't say anything more, just asked the other party's needs. He is a man who values friendship and gratitude. Lin Wusheng has helped him a lot in the past, and this favor must be repaid. He can agree to anything as long as his life is not endangered. Adopt her. Lin Wusheng murmured, a girl without protection and without parents and relatives will be kidnapped within half a day. It is impossible for her to survive. 2 years ago, I dug a tunnel under my main house that leads directly to the backyard toilet. Once the house is searched, my wife and I will immediately set the main house on fire. Yuan will be in the tunnel at that time. If you see a huge fire in my house, please take her away afterwards. There are also some gold and silver that I have accumulated over the years hidden in the tunnel. I hope you will treat her well in the future, even if you only give her a full meal. If you really don't want to adopt her, you can send her to a good family. After that, Lin Wusheng choked several times. Wei Hong silently poured him another glass of water, and then said solemnly, don't worry, I will do my best to protect her. He did not give any guarantees, let alone make any vows. But Lin Wusheng seemed to have unloaded a heavy burden and showed a relieved smile. This is a promise between men, and you can trust it. Brother Hong, take care. Lin Wusheng put down his teacup and stood up, his eyes very deep. Go back and rest. Wei Hong stood up to see him off, and comforted him seriously, don't think too much, The situation in the court is changing rapidly, and nothing may go wrong. Yet, Lin Wuxiang nodded, turned around and walked out the door. Under the night sky, Wei Hong stood there for a long time. Finally, he slowly exhaled, turned around and went back to the practice room to continue practicing. Too many things happened today, and his mind was confused for a while, but no matter what happened or what vortex he was involved in, one thing will never change. I must become stronger as soon as possible. Let's set a small goal first, to enter the blood refining realm before May. Wei Hong whispered softly. Please vote for me and read on. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.